Copenhagen, the land of bicycles, designer furniture, and of course, Lego. Yes, Denmark's proudest export after bacon and drivers who somehow always find grip in the wet. Copenhagen is a city where the traffic lights are polite and the pastries are elite, and the only thing that is faster than the Wi-Fi is someone trying to beat you to a cinnamon roll. But forget those flat whites for a moment, because this weekend, the Rødby karting ring in the south of the country plays host to the fourth and penultimate round of the Champions of the Future, as we are ready to start the main day of qualifying heats. The Rødby karting ring, year of opening, 1972, event record set by Roman Kamyab, 49.977. Very quick time, the only driver in the seniors to dip it below the 50-second marker out on circuit. Start-finish straight, 200 metres down the start-finish straight. It's then 135 metres on that infield squiggly bits. Total track length of 1,245 metres, around 8 metres wide with a 3-metre elevation change. That helps out the high cambered banked turns that are out there at around turn number 9. And there are 11 of those turns, 7 to the right, 4 to the left, and the 5 hairpins out there. Each and every one of those corners provides its own unique overtaking opportunities, which there are, as you can see, many of them. We see them in towards turn 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, and 11. I might as well just name all the corners out there, because meaning the racing will be absolutely frantic over the course of this weekend, and that doubles down to some of the high speeds that these drivers will be reaching, around about 122 kilometers an hour into turn number 1, and they average around 90 kilometers an hour around the entire circuit. It's a fast-flowing, demanding track for our drivers, and I'm pretty sure I say that about every circuit we go to, but this one I really mean it, because it is absolutely an electrical circuit, and that's not a pun because there's wind tire burns around the circuit. But let's get ready for the racing. Myself, Anthony Jordan, and Andrew Mather in the commentary box. It was a busy day yesterday, Andrew. Today, we're expecting something a little bit similar.
Yeah, 18 races in total for us today here in Denmark. We'll go through 3 rounds of qualifying heats. The aim of the game, get through to tomorrow's super heats. Top 72 in both of our categories will go through. Ultimately, drivers have their eyes on the top 36 to make it to Saturday's finals. And of course, at this stage of the season, we're going to start talking championship. Very unlikely that the championships will be decided here this weekend. However, you need to have a good one here in Rødby to make sure that you're in the game when we get to Kristianstad later on in the autumn. That's going to be a big factor of this weekend.
It certainly is. And those first races coming up very, very soon. OK Junior qualifying Heat B versus F will be the first to make its way out onto the track. And I dare say it, the blue sky is shining once again here at the Rødby karting ring. It was a very dismal start to the weekend. A lot of rain around in the area. The paddock was flooded. It was awful. But that's all gone away now. The sun is shining, and so is this young man here, Valerio Vidapiana of Italy. Koski Motorsports pilot, put it on pole position in time qualifying. Second fastest overall. Here's what he had to say.
Down here in Park Ferme after the first group in OK Junior, and for the first time we get to say, Valerio Vidapiana, you are on pole position. You must be delighted.
Yeah, I'm so happy because we changed so much things in this weekend. We tried the best. In quali I get the best position I can. Engine was perfect. I regret so much Yame and Alberto, my engineer. After Paolo Viani, that give me the best chassis I ever had in my life, OKJ. In the lap, when I did 1.8, I lose something in first sector because I got a curb in corner 3. But after in second sector was perfect, and third sector perfect, chassis the best. I like it.
How satisfying is it as well that you've achieved this in a group that has championship leader, William Kalesia, Henry Domain, drivers who've been very quick, particularly in qualifying so far this year?
Very happy because also Kaleja was so fast in this weekend, also Domain in wet conditions. Yeah, compete with them is the best I can.
Well, great to hear from Valerio Villapiano. Like you say, first time of him starting on the front row of the grid in the Champions of the Future. And let's see how he puts it to good work, because he's already had a second and a win over the course of this weekend. Let's quickly fire you through that full starting lineup, as well as the field have already made their way out onto circuit. It is Valerio Villapiano, of course, on pole position. He'll be joined by his fellow Italian, Girardello, on row number 1. Evan Purcell, who had a tough start to his day yesterday with a DNF on row 2. He'll have Turner Brown alongside Giacomo Giusto, and Lucas go from row number 3. Daniel Miron-Lorente and Kasper Reipol go from row 4. They'll have Denny Babacek and Dan Alaman on row number 5. Nathan Kappin and Nilas Malik on row number 6. Luke Tal and Bruno Blanco on row 7, with only Oliver Hjortrup on row number 8. Santiago Diaz de la Vega is missing.
On the 9th row of the grid, we'll find Henry Constant-Kumpen and Gustavo da Silva. Alessandro Truchot and Seva Osachi-Soslovsky, they go from row number 10. Mark Pilipenko and Juan Garciase start on row 11. Not a good day for Garciase yesterday. 23rd and a DQ across the 2 rounds of heats. Xavier Dudkovsky and Antoine Venant go from row 12. Christian Alexander Rust and Tony Cacciafero start on row 13. Amir Sabarov and Egon Pedrotti start on row 14. We are receiving information that Pedrotti has deployed new tyres. That's quite early in proceedings to go with that strategy. Let's see if it works for him. Row 15, 30 drivers scheduled in total for this one. Wenyu Bo and Angelina Simmons-Torres completing that 15th row. But of course, as Anthony mentioned, we are missing Santiago Diaz de la Vega. So 29 drivers will compete in this one. All of these OK Junior qualifying heats today, just under 12.5 kilometres, 10 laps of the Rødby karting ring. We are ready then for the start of round 3 of the qualifying heats for round 4 of Champions of the Future 2025. We are not quite ready, though, to go racing. That was not quite the kind of formation that our race starter Dan Ashton was looking for, so we'll go around for an extra formation lap.
Again, that's good for the drivers. Get a good taste of how the track is feeling this morning. Of course, at this stage of it, they did have, of course, morning warm-up. But that was then. This is now. The track will have evolved from those sessions earlier on. So plenty of time to get everything up to temperature as where they need it to be at this point. Like you say, for a lot of these drivers, some big moves through this field. A lot of kind of ups and downs through it as well. One great example of that one is Turner Brown, the driver from the USA, who's starting this on the 2nd row of the grid. Took a win in his first race. A really strong performance from it. And then his second, P15. So, you know, the ups and downs. But then again, the same for Evan Purcell. A DNF in his first race, then came back, had a P8. Yes, okay, that's still a drop from where he's starting, of course, in 3rd place. But it's just shown that a lot of these drivers have had those ups and downs. Dalaman, another example of that one, starting this one in P10, a 4th place in his first, and then DNFing in his second. So again, those ups and downs. Here we go then. Martin Bean gets out of the way as they enter into the tram lines. Are we racing? The answer to that is yes. Down we go in towards turn number 1. It's a good start for the inside line. And Villapiano holds on to the lead, but straight off at turn number 1 is one of the victory lanes. And I think possibly Lucas Sell off the circuit there at T1. But he gets hopefully back onto the circuit. They're going wide. It's the number 22 at Turner Brown. Again, a tough day in his second race yesterday. Seemingly, that's continuing in today's racing.
Well, straight away, we've seen one of the characteristics of this Rødby karting ring circuit. It's not one of those circuits that's got big amounts of tarmac runoff and ability to recover from a mistake. There's an incident coming out of turn 7 that we'll come back to in a moment. There it is, 2 karts off the road. It's the 33 and the 96, the 33 being Henry Constant-Kumpen, the 96 being Luke Tal on return. So, again, that's what we're meaning. This is a circuit that if you make a mistake, you run wide, you have a little bit of an incident, it bites, and it bites very, very quickly indeed. End of the first lap. Villapiano leads from Evan Purcell. Gioli Girardello is up to 3rd. Daniel Miron-Lorente had a decent day yesterday. He's at the front of that chasing pack for 4th. Denny Babacek up to 5th. As there's a change for 2nd place. It's the Italian Girardello through past Purcell. That was a nice move from the Parolin driver.
It certainly was, and doing a nice job there indeed as they steps up now through the order and up into 2nd place. But this is still a good run here from Purcell. Like you say, that drama he had in that first race, certainly looking a lot stronger today after a good night's sleep. But let's see how the rest of his day continues. For all of these groups, they will, of course, have 3 qualifying heats each today. They had the 2 yesterday. There was a pretty frantic day. 12 races we had yesterday, 18 today, so very busy day for them. But let's see how it all transpires as they head back over the start-finish line then. On to lap number 3 of this race. Piana still leads the way comfortably here as well, Andrew. 1 full second ahead of this one. But Purcell, he may have lost out in that position, but Uridello not out of the woods yet. Purcell looking like he wants to go for a move.
Yeah, Purcell looking very keen to bounce back from that disappointing results in the first round yesterday. That's a nice move from the Ricky Flynn driver. Down the inside, takes second place into turn 7. This very tight hairpin. We're going to see a lot of action in this part of the circuit today. Plenty of overtaking opportunities around this Rødby karting ring circuit. Looking a little bit further down the order, who's made good progress? Alessandro Truchot has up 13 places for the Powerland team. He's just at the fastest lap of the race as well. There is a notification from race control that Dan Alaman, your winner last time out in Champions of the Future, had the turbo, causing a collision. Warning flag, 5-second time penalty will be applied to Alaman wherever they finish. Where is the Swiss driver at the moment? It's just in 7th place, so yeah, that would drop him down around to 13th, 14th. Other drivers who've made good progress, Anthony, Mark Pilipenko up 11 for Fusion, and we'll give a mention to Juan Garciase as well. Needs a good result here, not a good day yesterday. Well, he's gained 9 positions at the moment. He's up to P13.
Yeah, it certainly is. But still a good chance through the field there from other drivers as well. Wenyabu also looking very strong. 12th place gain. Now currently sitting in P17. So, again, really pushing forward. One that I want to keep an eye on as well, of course, is Egon Pedrotti. Now, he has got those new tyres on board, but he's only benefited the 4 places. And unfortunately, that is from retirement that he's got in front of him. He's still rocking around at the back of the field currently right now, so not being able to utilise those right now. Across the line we go. Here, 2 parallels. Truchot and Giacomo Giusto line astern here, as they want to go wheel to wheel. But again, rule number 1, don't hit your teammates. And this is a very vibrant circuit for racing. Big open spans, big open corners. This one here going in towards turn 5 is a real inviter. Of course, that's where we saw Purcell do the move earlier on. But this time around, the 2 teammates still continuing line astern.
Trisha really pushing on here. Speaking to some of the drivers this morning, the grip conditions have improved from yesterday. Feels like the track has started to bed in with the Maxxis rubber going down across the course of TQ, and those 2 rounds of heats yesterday. We've of course had a little bit of warm-up as well earlier on this morning. On to the 6th lap, into the second half of this heat. Piana, Purcell, Girardello looking pretty comfortable at the moment in the top 3. This battle for 4th place on your screens. Daniel Miron Lorente in the blue and yellow Fernando Alonso DPK racing machine, holding off the 2 Paulins right now. They need to keep an eye on Dan Alaman behind, though. We know how quick Dan Alaman is after his great performance in Italy. He's just gone fastest of anyone through sector number 1.
Indeed, and Turner Brown going fastest lap on that previous one as well. The American who is down at the moment, 7 places, showcasing that the pace is still there, and we were seeing that pace, of course, in time qualifying. The OTK products were looking absolutely mighty, weren't they? The factory Tony Cut teams, the Wards were looking good. Of course, the Ricky Flynns were looking good, as well as the Forza Racing was also looking very quick. So anyone out there on the OTK products really looking strong. Juan Garciase, another recipient of a 5-second time penalty. He will not be happy with that one, but he's currently circulating around in 12th place. He's on a 10th place gain right now. So he is pushing through, but yeah, maybe a little bit too heavy with the pushing through. Eyes on this one, down the inside, Alessandro Truchot, make that 15 places gained.
Yeah, very good stuff there from Truchot, making efficient work of his rivals in this race. Just to update, drivers out of this race, Kumpenthal and Sell, we all know from lap 1. Amir Sabarov has stopped out there also, as has one of the wildcards here this weekend. A good contingent of both Danish and Swedish wildcards this weekend. And unfortunately, for one of them, Oliver Hjordrup, they are out of this heat. Remember, at the end of today, at the end of the 5th round of heats, any drivers outside of the top 72, that will be the end of their weekend. They will be going home a night early. Nobody wants to be in that position. 2.5 laps to go, Anthony. Looking still pretty comfortable at the front for Valerio Villapiana, but he's still pushing on, just gone fastest of anyone through sector number 1.
He has indeed, but Purcell has closed that gap, just that fraction, down to 0.8 of a second. Remember, it was well over a second earlier on, but like you were just mentioning, with that fastest sector 1, back up to 9/10. So showcasing that Virpiana not only did a great lap in qualifying, but is showcasing that that was not just a one-off fluke. He has really got some pace this weekend here.
And dealing with the psychological side of things really well also. I was very impressed with his second heat yesterday. He had some challenges from other drivers, maybe with a bit more experience of being at the very front of the order. And, it would have been easy to think, oh, he's going to probably make a mistake here. He's new to this racing right in front. But that wasn't the case. It was a very, very mature performance from Virpiana. We're on the final lap of this first race of the day. There is your race leader just coming into the tight hairpin in the infield now. A couple more notes from race control. Sabarov is under investigation. That's fairly inconsequential for the drivers. Apologies, not quite on the final lap yet. We're on lap 9. We're about to see the final lap board for the drivers now. Not that I think that's going to be much worry at all for Valerio Virpiana, because you can see the length of lead that he has there. 8/10 is the advantage. Just managing things right now. Back to Evan Purcell. For Purcell, this is very much him going in the right direction. 27th to 8th to 2nd across these 3 rounds of heats so far. More improvements from the Ricky Flynn driver.
Yeah, indeed. Pushing it through nicely right now, but I'm loving the shot there as they exit out of that bottom section in towards the likes of turn 7. That's where they really step it up through the order, and they're utilising all of that curb and runoff area, and we're seeing that those tyres nearly clip the grass, so really pushing strong in this early phase. But out of the final corner then for the Italian, he's going to add to his tally. They'll make it 2 out of 3. Qualifying heat wins for Valerio Virpiana across the line. He claims his second win of the weekend ahead of Evan Purcell. He'll be happy with that one, Will Purcell. That's his best result of the weekend so far with that P2. Girardello in 3rd from Truchot. Miron in P5 ahead of Justo. Alaman from Capin. Brown from Babacek, who round out the top 10. But again, I'm just going to say it, Valerio Virpiana, to me, Andrew, absolutely superb drive and possibly one of the favourites this weekend for that final.
And a really pleasant surprise as well. Best result so far this season for Virpiana was back at round number 2. And when he just got into the top 10 in the final, this is what we're meaning. It's a big step forward in terms of performance from the Italian. There is your provisional results. Virpiana from Purcell, Girardello, Truchot, Miron Lorente, Justo, Alaman, Capin, Brown and Babacek all in the top 10. Mark Pilipenko was 11th. Juan Garciase up in 12th ahead of Gustavo da Silva, Kasper Reipold, Seva Osachi Soslovsky completing the top 15. Bruno Blanco, Angelina Simmons-Torres, Antoine Venant, Tony Cacciafiero, Christian Alexander Rust, Wen Yubo, Nilas Malik, Egon Pedrotti and Xavier Dudkovsky were the 24 finishers. That tyre strategy really did not work for Pedrotti, unfortunately. Retirements from that race: Hjordrup, Sabarov, Sell, Tal and Kumpen. Santiago Diaz de la Vega did not start the race, will not start any races today, has been disqualified from the competition.
That's a big shame there for the Mexican driver, who unfortunately will have to wait another week before we'll see him back out on track. There, though, that is going to be a second win, and is that, I dare say, a smile underneath that helmet for Valerio Virpiana. Lucas Sell, right at the beginning of that race, pure drama for him, straight off at turn 1. The grass still very slippery, no way he was going to stop it. Him off the circuit. There was the moment for Luke Tal and Henry Constant Kumpin. You can see how, again, frustrated they were on the opening lap. They could have got it restarted there, but again, choosing not to.
Yeah, and the two carts are slightly locked together there as well. This was the move by Evan Purcell down the inside of Girardello on the way to second place. Same spot, same results for Alessandro Truchot getting 4th place off of Daniel Miron Lorente. The fairly straightforward win for Valerio Virpiana puts the Italian to the top of the intermediate classification at this moment. 144 points from a possible 150. So into round 4, Virpiana will at least be second in the intermediate classification. There is still the question mark over whether we'll see Bosco Arias continue his winning streak from yesterday. But quite simply, Arias is the only driver who, through this third round, can surpass that score of 144.
Indeed, 2 wins yesterday for the Spaniards. Certainly going to be an exciting one. Well, there you can see clean-up operation underway just for the moment, but that is one race down. Many more to go over the course of the day, and it will be the seniors qualifying heat B versus F. That will be gracing its presence out onto the circuit in the next one, and it will have the likes of the Canadian Jensen Burnett on the pole position spot. Fabulous qualifying for him yesterday. Only just missed out on the outright pole. Of course, Roman Kamiab taking that, the only driver to dip below the 50-second mark. Jensen Burnett bang on the 50-second mark, 50.0. So a very, very quick time from him, showcasing that their race later on might be a bit of a feisty one. We caught up with Jensen Burnett, and here's what he had to say after time qualifying.
Well, the first qualifying group for the senior category here in Rødby for the Champions of the Future round number 4. Jensen Burnett, fastest in group and fastest overall at the moment. That time stuck out of nowhere because it wasn't even a personal best in that last sector. How did that lap feel from your point of view, though?
Well, I mean, my heart is racing. In the second last lap, when I thought that was going to be my best lap, I had to make a split-second decision on whether I wanted to let off, sacrifice that lap for the last lap, or keep going and potentially not get the last lap. So I made that decision, and thank goodness it stuck.
Well, I say you were one of the last drivers to cross the line, and like you say, with the times running out, we were certain in the commentary box that it was going to be, well, this is the time, and then all of a sudden, boom, your name just shot to the top. So, yeah, that time really did pay off for you. Tyre-wise, then, it really all came in on that third lap. So those first 2 laps, was it literally just a case of getting the temps up to where you needed them?
Yeah, I mean, my goal was not to push so hard in the first couple laps and just have that one lap where I was quicker. So at the start, I was kind of taking it easy, but then at the end, when it was time to push, I was able to put in the lap.
Excellent. Well, it's worked out for you, and at the moment, you are fastest overall. But there's more sessions to go. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But for right now, Jensen Burnett, you're on provisional pole. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Now, really great to chat there to Jensen Burnett yesterday. Really chirpy driver, and looking forward to seeing what he can do out in this one. Now, there was a bit of drama in Groups B yesterday. We'll go over a little bit of that later on because we'll talk about some more drivers. Marco Gast as well of Denmark, a very strong performance so far this weekend. Another one of the Koski Motorsport drivers pushing himself through. 2 P5s for him in that one. You could see there the third row, and you can see it from this shot here as well. There is a missing kart. Now that is the wagon of the 244 machine. Lewis Francis from Australia, unfortunately himself and Chiara Batig involved in an incident yesterday which brought out a red flag. Unfortunately, a bit of an arm injury for Lewis Francis. He will not be racing again this weekend or next weekend. The next time we're going to see him is in the World. So we here at the circuit, the commentary box, and I'm sure everyone here in the paddock wishes Lewis Francis a speedy recovery, and we see him back on the track very, very soon.
Absolutely. It was not a nice incident at all. We must say as well, credit to Kart Republic and the strength of their 2 chassis. From the Good Works team and the Victory Lane team, because the hit, it was horrible. It really, really was horrible. So the fact that, okay, Lewis has hurt his arm, but it's a fairly minor injury. The fact that Chiara's on the grid at all, I'm pleasantly surprised that is the case, having seen that crash yesterday.
Yeah, Clara declared fit by the medics and has been deemed okay to race today. And that's really, really good news. She'll be starting this one on the 6th row of the grid in P11, so that's going to be a good one to see. You were seeing there very briefly some of your other drivers. You saw there Lev Krutilov in the energy course as well. Good day for him yesterday for the Ukrainian. Jacob Mikolev on the other side, Malta. Tough day yesterday for Jacob Mikolev. 2 DNFs in 2 races. Today needs to be perfection from the word go.
And can't be anything less because, 2 bad results yesterday. It's going to be a battle to get back into the top 36, but at the moment, Mikolev isn't even in the top 72. So a nice solid result here. If you can hold position, get a third or a fourth, that'd be a decent one for Jacob Mikolev. But the other driver's going to know that. He can't take any risks today.
No, he can't. It's all got to be absolutely superb. So we'll have to wait and see how that one goes as the recovery operation has just come to a conclusion. We should be starting with this race very, very soon. And as I say it, the engines fire up, drivers make their way out onto the circuit, and let's take you through the full starting lineup ahead of this qualifying heat B versus F for the senior category. It is Jensen Burnett and Marco Gast on row number 1, Lev Krutilov and Jacob Mikolev going from row number 2. Emilio Covisto will be all on his own on row number 3. No Lewis Francis on that third row, ahead of Oliver Rasmussen and Sebastian Mins on row 4. Boris Lysen and Efim Dunanov go from row number 5. They will have Chiara Batigue and Dean Bedison both on row number 6. Filippo Sala and Gino Rocchio round out the first half of the field on row 7.
Row number 8, Zhang Jose and Luna Flusha. Flusha had a good drive yesterday, both times up into the top 10. Likewise for Ella Hakkinen, trying to qualify for her first Champions of the Future final of the year. Is decently positioned at the moment, starts this one from row 9 and is joined by Scott Marsh. Francois Cadal and Daniel Picorni go from row 10. Clovis Nugared could be moving through once again from the 11th row of the grid. Is joined by Luke Cornder. Roland Coquelin and Zhao Zihyun start on row 12. It's Stylianos Kolovos and Lillian Scarborough. Scarborough, one of the several drivers who've moved up to the senior category for this weekend for the latter part of the season. They start on row 13. Carl Loutard and Mathis Omaitre of France start on row 14. 27 drivers in total on the track, that being with the withdrawal of Lewis Francis. Quick update on the scores in the intermediate points overnight. Kamyab and Craigie both perfect through yesterday, 100 points apiece. Bradier 91, Peschel 88. The highest ranked driver in this race is Jensen Burnett, 5th place on 82 points. There is also a look into race control. The head of race control for this weekend is Portugal's Joana Falcao, flanked by David Manchester and Sam Fisher.
I'll always stress at this point, they hate it when we put the camera on because they always say, well, whenever you put it on, it's in between a race and we're never doing any work and it doesn't look like we're working. Trust me, they're very busy when we start the races, but we just can't show it because we're busy as well. But that's one of the things. They do work very, very hard. Right. Drivers out of the final corner. This looks okay to me. Let's see if it's good for racing, though. Into the tram lines. Lights are out. We are racing down towards turn number 1. And it's got to be a good start for Jacob Mikolev on this one. And so far it is. He's still there holding in P5 as he looks to the inside. He's got the MP Motorsport machine of Emilio Covisto on that rear bumper. But it is a good start for Jensen Burnett and for Lev Krutilov. They have broken away at the front, and already we're seeing a gap between the likes of 2nd and 3rd place. Down the inside, big sends from the back of the field. That is a huge lunge there from Lillian Scarborough in her first race weekend as a senior, pushing through the season nicely. There down the inside, though, that is Oliver Rasmussen going for the moves. Rasmussen in a right battle there, and Jacob Mikolev capitalises on it.
Very well read there by Jacob Mikolev as the other two drivers fought. He held the downside line and got 2 for the price of 1. Look at this, though. Big point forward from Krutilov to Burnett to say, don't defend, let's get away from the rest of this lot. They've got about 9/10 in their pocket at the moment over Jacob Mikolev. Mikolev as well. Oh dear, as we've got a retirement. It's the 293 of Daniel Picorni for Harman Racing out of this race. Not a good weekend so far for Picorni. Lev Krutilov is the new fastest driver there, going back and forth. Burnett still leading from Krutilov, but we know that Lev Krutilov loves a move. Jacob Mikolev as well. Now, here's one thing, is closing. Will probably have a bit of a time advantage at this stage. Krutilov goes for the move down the inside. Burnett cannot hold him back. Through goes the energy course. Brilliant stuff. Here comes Mikolev now, down the inside. Picking up good points here at the moment is Jacob Mikolev, looking to get his weekend back on track.
That was a nice little rhythm there between these 3 drivers, and you know, that's quite a difficult place to get an overtake on. That hairpin, very cambered. I'm talking a lot of camber on this one. Hard to walk up to as Jacob Mikolev. We said he didn't need to take risks, but he's certainly going for it. We said he needed perfection. He is trying to go for perfection down the inside there with Lev Krutilov, but denied on that one. But he's got the fastest lap of the race. The pace is there today. I think the driver from Malta is looking far more confident with his wagon. and he does get through past Krutulov into the race lead.
Very, very bold stuff from Jacob Mikolev. Lev Krutulov and Jensen Burnett have got to think carefully about this. Wouldn't be a surprise if Mikolev starts to break away at this stage, simply because he's done less racing laps on his Max's Primes right now than the other two. Further down the order, who's making progress? Carl Lutard's on the move, up 14 places, up to P13 from the very back of the field. Francois Cadal as well, up 7 to 12th, as out of the races. Luna Flusha, lots of damage on the front of that Iron Dames liveried machine. What has happened there to Luna Flusha? Her run of top 10s through these qualifying heats ends in round number 3. That is a real setback for her.
Well, I'm just trying to think where she was racing at that point, and Zhang Jose, who's also out of the race, was around about the same spot on track. Ella Hacken has just had a dismal one there as well. She has tumbled down to 24th place, also roughly in the same area as where Luna Flusha was. And that, like you mentioned, significant damage to the front end of that car. That's not going to be too well. This is something I want to talk about. Chiara Matigue, not only was she involved in that horrendous accident yesterday, which potentially took her out of the weekend, but she's back in this race. She's in 4th place and on a 7th place gain and is sending it through the field. That's absolutely incredible.
This is superb from Chiara Matigue, who is, back in a kind of form that we saw earlier in the season. We know she's been quick in qualifying all the way through this season, and there's been flashes of pace in race trim. Right now, what a brave drive this is. Now, again, she will have a tyre advantage. She didn't run in the second race, in the second attempt after the red flag to get it going. 5-second penalty is coming for Luna Flusha. That isn't going to change things too much, because Flusha is out of this race, of course. And all the way down in 25th place. Dean Pedersen has fallen down the order as well, so not a good run here for the American. But how about this for Chiara Matigue? This is really, really good to see. Great work by the medical team yesterday, who took care of Chiara very, very well indeed, to make sure that she was okay. And keeping behind Marco Gast. Gast has been very quick this weekend as well, understandably. Yeah,
indeed. Gast being consistent with his results, 2 P5s. He's looking at the moment for a 3rd one, unless he can get this move done down the inside of Chiara Matigue. That might be easier said than done, though, like we're saying, with those fresher tyres on board Matigue's wagon after missing that 3rd race. So let's see what happens in this one. Eyes on this, though. Jensen Burnett back onto the rear bumper of Lev Krutulov. Mikolev has broken away, though. Look at this. The 2 DNFs yesterday seemed like a year ago, and now he's a completely new person today.
Yeah, this is very, very good from Jacob Mikolev, delivering on the promise that we've seen from the Maltese driver over the past couple of years of international karting. Krutulov and Bennett know that right now their game is just to hold and manage that gap back to the victory lanes. There's been a change as the Koski of Marco Gast has got through past Chiara Matigue. So the Dane on home soil up to P4. Keep an eye on Sebastian Mins as well, another driver who didn't see all of the racing laps completed yesterday. Burnett goes down the inside of Krutulov for P2. Has probably had a little quick check over the shoulder. Could see Gast, Matigue and Mins closing in, thinking, do you know what, I need to get a little bit up the road, get better track position. That was a nice move from Burnett.
Yes, indeed. Here comes Filippo Sala, though, down the inside of Chiara Matigue at turn number 1 and gets that move done. And again, Filippo Sala is on the charge in this race, also now up 6-7 positions after a pretty tough qualifying for him in that championship fight as well.
It's quite interesting. This race is all about the drivers who did not finish all of their racing laps yesterday. Mikolev, we've talked about. Mins, he had problems. Sala, he had problems. Petit didn't run all of the second race. So that's going to be quite intriguing as we get into the day of when do you play your half set of tyres, because the delta in terms of tyre pace, at least by what we're looking at here on track at the moment, seems to be quite stark.
It does at the moment, and one thing you've got to take away from this one, the track here is not that porous. It's very smooth tarmac here. It's really good for the tyre. You can see that there are the dark lines there, but you're not seeing like dramatic dark lines everywhere. It's not too abrasive on the tyre, which means that these Maxxis tyres can run for a really, really long time. over the weekend. So we might actually see a phase where we don't see any tyres get deployed until maybe the last race of the day.
Yeah.
And even if you've got that far, why not save them for the superheat?
Indeed. So we'll see how that all plays out. Looking on our screens at the moment, this is the battle between Sebastian Mins. Has changed teams. Started the season with CRG. It's now switched into the Victory Lane karting team, running on the Kart Republic chassis. Under investigation, the 303 of Mathis Almerta, with a difficult weekend again for the French driver, who's currently running in 24th place. Change further down the order, Boris Leisens through past Clovis Nougaret, that's for 14th, and a warning flag has come in for Dean Pedersen. 5-second penalty for Pedersen there.
Indeed, so we'll need to be careful for the rest of this race and the rest of the day as well. Don't want to pick up too many of those over the course of a weekend. Marco Gast, his best results yesterday, P5s. He's looking here at a potential third place, and his kart looking mighty rapid here. Really reeling in there, the likes of Lev Krutilov on that energy course. Not being able to get a move done there through turn number 9. Maybe think about it to 10 and 11. Nothing this time around, but looking very, very quick and composed. Down the 200 meter finish straight they go. Topping out 122 kilometers an hour here in towards turn number 1. Very fast entry into that one. And again, very tricky to get an overtake done there, but we have seen the overtakes done. We saw Filippo Sala do it only a couple of laps ago on Chiara Batig, and Sala has now closed in onto the back of this group as well, so watch him try and get these moves done. But all the meanwhile, we'll keep an eye on Gast, as now he goes for the move down the inside at turn number 7. Nicely done. Not wasting any time whatsoever.
Yeah, lovely stuff there from the Dane. Gets up to 3rd place, gets a few more intermediate points as a result of that. Still got to navigate his way through the last couple of laps. There's another nice move. Started Sebastian Mintz, making sure that Lev Krutilov had no way of coming back there. That's going to give Filippo Sala an attempt into turn 1. This is brave and good stuff there from Filippo Sala to move up to 5th place. Lev Krutilov now down to 6th. Well, that is not what you would have expected earlier on in the race when he was going for that race lead.
No, exactly. This is good stuff for these drivers, but for Lev Krutilov, this is a bad end to his brilliant start to the race. But let's see how it goes through the last couple of laps in this one. Filippo Sala has impressed me over the course of this one. I have spoken to him briefly over the course of it, and again, he seems his normal chirpy self. No real dramas in the camp, but yeah, that was a really tough qualifying for him earlier on this weekend, but again, not fazed by it whatsoever, and pushing through as hard as he possibly can in this race. We go on to lap number 30 now. It is the final lap of the race, and for Jacob Mikolev, 2.6 seconds clear. Is he pushing too hard at this phase?
Possibly, but I think we'll find that out, whether it's a case or not in the later rounds. To say, he's basically got 1.5 races of a tyre advantage on everybody else. It was such a disaster for him yesterday, but he's done the job here. Oh, now there was a Ricky Flynn off there. Was that Luke Cornder's car in trouble?
So.
Yeah, in the 226. So Luke Cornder really not having the kind of weekend he would have wanted, or at least the start to it. But for Jacob Mikolev, this is what a new day can do. Out of the final corner, had 2 DNFs yesterday, strikes back in round 3 with a race victory. Jacob Mikolev is not done this weekend in Denmark. He takes the 50 intermediate points. Jensen Bennett continues to score strongly and will take the intermediate points lead for now with that 2nd place. 126 points for a possible 150 for the Canadian. Marco Gast strong again. 5th and 3rd for Gast now. We'll move him up the IC. Sebastian Mins, that's the best result of the weekend so far, if I'm not mistaken. 4th place. Filippo Sala striking back as well. Yes, bad round 1, but 8th and 5th in rounds 2 and 3. Shows the Italian means business as well.
Oh, certainly so. There's a look at your full results then. Lev Krutilov at the end of that one, finishing in P6 ahead of Chiara Batig. Really great race for Chiara in that one. Great to see her back out on circuit and racing today. Amina Koivisto and Oliver Rasmussen round out the top 9. Efim Dudanov finishes in P10 ahead of Gino Rocchio. Roland Cooklane on an 11th place gain finishes in P12 ahead of Scott Marsh, in P13, and Silas Kolovos in P14. Dean Pedersen, we did see him drop down to 22nd. He has recovered back to P15 at the end of that one, so that's a good run. Boris Lysen having a tough race out there as well, finishing that race in P16. Carl Lertart on a 10th-place gain, the German driver for MP Motorsport, 17th for him, and a Francois Cadel and Zhao Zijun. Ella Hakkinen from Clovis Nougarade, Lilian Scarborough, and Mattis Almer rounding out the 23 finishers in that race. The retirements, Luke Corner at the end. Not sure what happened to the German driver for Ricky Flynn, but we saw his kart getting recovered right at the end of that one. Luna Flusha, heavy damage to the front of her kart, which has resulted, unfortunately, of her getting a 5-second time penalty as well, but she won't care about that because it's a retirement. Zhang Jose, 26th, and Daniel Picorni, 27th, with a one non-starter of Lewis Francis. Here's the highlights, and well, Jacob Mikolev from that second row of the grid tumbled back to P5, came through the field beautifully, lap after lap. The driver from Malta certainly pushing in those early phases.
It was indeed. That was some drama. That's how Daniel Picorni picked up damage that put him out of the race. This was a really key point for Mikolev's progress, battling drivers ahead, and they would not spot the young Maltese driver being able to nip through. It was into turn number 9 where things got really spicy. Look at that, just holding on the inside. That was such an important move for Mikolev to break up the road without losing too much time there. The battle continued between Rasmussen as Daniel Picorni left the scene at the end of lap number 1. Mikolev continued. This was his move on Burnett for second place. Lev Krutilov had got to the front of the order at this stage, and then into turn number 3. It was quite a bold one, considering that we were saying how Mikolev needed to not take any risks, make sure that he got to the end of the race, as out of the race as well would go Zhang Jose. He's having a tough run on the first appearance in the senior category, Anthony.
Yeah, indeed, and well, he was pointing there, and there you see the rear damage on his kart, the heavy front-end damage to Luna Flusha's, and I think the deflated body language there for the Iron Dames driver, who is backed by Mercedes, unfortunately not having the greatest start to today, but that is only the first race of the day, plenty more to go, of course. Filippo Sala, another driver who's impressed. Tough day yesterday, fighting back strong today, looking really strong from the 7th row of the grid. Been starting some of these races, so again, really good to see him pushing through. Boris Lysen as well, also looking mighty strong in the early stages of this race. He's had a really good run in his races there. But like I say, for Sebastian Mins, he's going to be the one to really keep an eye on here, because a tough day yesterday for him, shot through the field today, back up in that sharp end where he wants to be.
Yeah, indeed. It's for a lot of these drivers, they know that they can make some really big progress across these 3 rounds today. And for Jacob Mikolev, that's a third of the job done. He'll need to do that again and then again in the 4th and 5th rounds to stand a good chance of going deep into the weekend. But for now, we move our attentions back to the juniors. It's Group C and E coming out on circuit in a moment's time. And this has all the ingredients of being a very intriguing race, Anthony. Noah Baglin at the front of the order for this one. Second and a race victory yesterday. Championship leader William Kalesia in this one as well. So you've got 2 of your top 3 in the championship point standings at the start of the weekend in this heat. Olivier Sini, big step forward this weekend. We'll catch up with it a bit as well. But for now, let's hear what Noah Baglin had to say after qualifying yesterday. Here in Parc Ferme at the culmination of OKJ qualifying at Rødby today. Noah Baglin, fastest in the 3rd group. Did you feel like there was any more out there?
Yeah, it was an amazing lap by me, in my opinion. I went past Turner at the start of quali. It was quite difficult because I didn't really have a reference, as a car ahead was quite far ahead. So I just need to put my head down and did it, and luckily I did the lap, and yeah.
Not quite able to take overall pole position today, but at this stage of the season, thinking championship, that's still a very good result, isn't it, ahead of your rivals?
Yeah, because now we're getting to the last couple rounds in some of the future. It's the points, all that matters. Pole overall doesn't mean anything. It means stuff to me, but not as much as it did at the first round of the season. So yeah, just going to put my head down in the heat and see if we can get the points.
And on a day when perhaps other chassis have looked a little bit quicker across the field, you know, for getting a Kart Republic up there, that's for your benefit a really good result, isn't it?
Yeah, KR have done so much for me in the quali. We weren't the quickest in practice. We were quite quick, getting P2 in the first practice, what was quite good. We did it on the first chassis, but now we've gone to this chassis and it's felt really good, and we put the lap in with this chassis, so it's really good.
Strategy-wise, bit of rain in the air. Do you think it's going to be a tough call on tyres later on this afternoon?
Hopefully it will stay dry, but yeah, I think in the week it will rain a little bit, so it's going to be quite hard to guess which tyre we're going to go through, but luckily I like the rain here, so we'll see what we can do.
Well done once again, Noah. Thanks for your time. We'll see you later on in the weekend.
Thank you.
Well, good to chat there to Noah Baglin. And, well, at the moment, yes, that track still remaining dry for the time being. But karts have made their way out onto the track. And let's take you through the full starting lineup for this one. It is Noah Baglin starting here on pole position, joined by William Kalija. Olivier Sini, really good, strong showing for the driver from Indonesia. We're looking forward to seeing what they could do from row number 2. Henry Domain joining alongside Maxim Bobajov and Iskender Sofakari on row 3 with Lucas Bonhomme and Matteo Rivals on row number 4. Ludwig Van Quist and Remy Samcek go from row number 5. Sami Hugon and Andrea Mani go from row number 6. They'll have Manu Novellini and Sebastian Eskandari on row number 7 with Jesse Phillips and Ludovico Mazzola running out the first half of the field.
Priam Bruno and Arata Endo go from the 9th row of the grid in this race. Alex Malota, not a good day yesterday for a driver who's scored points quite a few times so far this season. Starts on row 10 alongside one of the wild cards. 12, Emiliano Hernandez and Max Lacroix starts on row 13. It's Yanis Kolobos and Daniel Oliver starting on row 14. 30 drivers due to go out in this one, all 30 reporting for duty. On row 15 to complete the field, it's Adam Anderson and Emilia Wiśmierska.
Well, lots will have to happen here for Baglin. He needs a win here to keep himself in that points fight with the likes of Valerio Villapiana. Of course, he needs to keep there as well because, of course, he's got Bosco Arias, who is on 2 wins out of 2. So, again, it is very, very close this weekend between multiple drivers, way more than what we would usually see. Usually there's like 1, max 2. This time around, we've got 3 or 4 drivers all fighting right up at that sharp end with very close points. Eyes on this, looking down quite a bit. Curious to see how this one goes. It was a tough start yesterday for the qualifying heats for these groups with false starts. So let's see if it's all good this time around as they go into the tram lines. Lights are out, we are racing. Down in towards turn number 1. Good stuff for the inside row, but keep an eye on Willie Kalija round the outside. Holds on to second place. That is a strong and bold start for the Australian, who has had to be put on that outside row for this one. Because it is so fast, but he's amazingly held on to that one. Baglin holding on to the lead of this one, but he is under immense pressure from the 2 Forzas behind. But crucially, though, Andrew, that's a solid start for the field until we get to turn at number 5, where unfortunately 5 karts have gone off the circuit.
Yeah, not a good start for a number at the back of the field. Gotta say, that was really brave, really good teamwork from the Forzas, starting from the outside. Kalija went for it, and there was this tiniest little high-speed nudge from Henry Domain that meant that Kalija was able to get round the outside of Cini, and that gave Domain a bit of a route into 3rd as well. That's given them good track position to take the fight to Bagley in the early stages of this race. Out involved in that incident, Sam Hugon. Change the lead. Kalija's gone for it and got it. Good move from the championship leader. You've got 1st, 3rd and 4th in the championship points heading into this weekend. Now, was that a yellow flag out there?
Well,
now Baglin needs to be a bit careful and realises the situation. Hesitates. That allows Domain to go through. So that was a close moment there. He's close behind as well. 3 wide for 4th place. Is that Iskender Sulfikari coming into play? This is a much better start for the Forzas. Baglin trying to find a way through, ducks underneath Domain, takes 2nd place. Iskender Sulfikari is on the outside now as Kalija is streaking away here. Baglin fighting with the other Forzas, sweeps across the front to try and close the door. Here goes Domain down the inside into turn 1. This could be bad for Baglin because there's traffic on the inside. Another cart goes through. Baglin's going to be shuffled down to around 9th, 10th, maybe even 11th place here.
Yeah, it was a lone Prema there with 3 Forzas all working against him, and unfortunately, yes indeed, it has put him backwards. Now down the inside comes Rami Samcek, and he sends it through into 2nd place on Olivier Sini. who holds on for the time being there. In fact, I think he's got back through into second place, Sini. And yeah, Remy Samchek's back down in the field. Who's that now up there in the Ricky Flynn? It's Maxim Bobrozov who stepped through the field. That's a beautiful start for him, as it's still all kicking off in the background. Everyone trying to push forward in this early stage because, well, they're back there in the front. Where did the likes of Noah Baglin go? He's got all the way back behind his teammate, Manny Nuvolini. Baglin's down to P16.
This is really, really not the kind of race that Noah Baglin would have expected when he woke up this morning as one of the drivers sharing second place in the intermediate classification overnight. We're on to lap number 4 of this one. Kalesia leads from Cini. Amazing performance so far this weekend from Olivieri Cini, who's not made a final so far this season. At the moment, he's looking of not just being in the final, being a long, long way up it. Moves as well for one of the Hageman Racing entries. That's Alex Malota in the blue and orange, needing a big result in this one. Through past Priya Bruno into 10th place. Manny Nuvolini there, diving down the inside. Great move by the young Frenchman in the black and white helmet, cart number 55. This doesn't feel like a heat to me, Anthony. This feels almost like a pre-final or something of that description. Overtakes going on all over the place. And we've still got another 2 rounds of heats after this one.
You know what it reminds me of? A repechage. That's
yes,
what it does.
No,
all those drivers trying to get into that last spot to get through into that final. That's what it feels like. But we're very early on in those qualifying heats still. But Manny Nuvolini holding on to the front of this one. Baglin back down the inside now. He's on the charge through. Alexander Lazarus was the next driver. He's just taken off his list. He's got the 2 drivers up ahead, the Ward Racing and the Hagman driver of Endo Arata, Priambrano there as well, all fighting for position. Priambrano trying to look down the inside there, not able to do so. Now Baglin on that quarter once again. Back up at the sharper end of the field. This is Zulfikari, Rivals, Bono, and Nuvolini just behind that fight. They're fighting away. This one's going to be interesting. Olivieri Cini is on the scene to Maxim Bobrozov and is going to want to take that second place away from him.
It is indeed. The gap to Kalesia is some 3.7 seconds at the moment. As there's Henry Domain having a little look at Matteo Rivals. We've had 5 laps completed of this one. We're into the second half of the race. Samchik's trying to cut back there. There's one of the MP carts, the 133 of Ludwig Blomqvist, who, well, is a driver familiar to us, Anthony, with some of his racing in other categories. He's a wild card here this weekend in OK Junior, and I've got to say, he is continuing to impress me massively on this early run for him in what is a very competitive category. Up in 4th place, all of the chaos that's been going on in this race, and the young Swede has been able to pick his way through and is on for another big points haul.
It certainly is, and it's going to be a very fine day, I can imagine, for the young man. Well, let's see how this all goes through. Endo Arata on that last one, getting past Alex Malota. Stepping up another position as well, just further back, as Bobrozov now sets the fastest lap of the race. No way he can close into Kalesia. Is off the track. It's a scary moment there for, unfortunately, Ludwig Granqvist, the Swede, in this race. Tumbles off the grass, and it's Genizov Fakari and Matera Valls push their way through.
Do indeed. Rivals down the inside of Zulfikari. That's a beautiful move from the French driver. Puts him up to 4th place now. That's lap 7 done. 3 more of a frenetic qualifying heat for groups C and E to go. And just noting where's Baglin got to, still stranded down in 12th place at the moment. Other moves on that lap. Lucas Bonham's got through past Henry Domain for 7th place. And what all of this is doing as well is putting a further smile on Valerio Villapiana's face, because Villapiana is still holding on to the intermediate classification lead, and by quite some margin as well. He's got 21 points over his nearest competitor in this particular race, that being Olivieri Cini, running in 3rd place at the moment. This just shows again how wide open OK Junior is this weekend. Further down the order, Matzler has got past Kraft for 16th place. Hernandez through as well, up to 18th past Stalmack.
Indeed. Race nearly coming to a conclusion here. And right now, Val's looking confident there in P4. But Skenisov Akari not dropping off the back. It's kicking off the background there as well. Lucas Bonhomme, Grandquist, Domain, Samchek all started to kick off now as Zulfikari retaliates there and gets back through as off the track. That's not going to be the most ideal line through that place. As rounded out, Mateo Rivals throws his hands up in the air and, well, does a very smart thing there of running away from that kart. But that is a moment. Now, what happened there?
I think that was technical.
I think that was an engine failure there in a fine fashion. You can see the time marks. It instantly locked up and spat him out of the race.
Yeah, that is a real shame for Mateo Rivals, who'd driven a great race up to that point. Ludwig Grandquist trying to keep half of Denmark behind by the seams of it. Noah Backlund trying to fight his way through, unable to do so. Who else have we got in this group? You've got Lucas Bonham there on the energy course in the middle of it all. Henry Domain still scrapping for points. Domain knows as well in terms of championship. Keeping the likes of Backlund behind is really, really important. Backlund going wheel to wheel with Bonham. Every time for Backlund, you've got to give a little bit of credit to him. He's having a good go, but he just keeps finding himself on the outside of little runs here as Samchik's now off the road, kicks up a load of dirt as he tries to find his way through past Grandquist. Domain's taken 2 positions in all of that. This is all over the place.
So much is happening right now, and that's purely the circuit, you know. There's so many places to overtake. Blink and you'll miss it. And we nearly did miss it. William Kalisha crosses the line. Some 3.4 seconds further up the road ahead of Maxim Bobajov. And Olivier Adesini finishing in P3. Who's going to get the rest of them? Because they all changed places. Zulfikari held on to P4. Domain does get 5th. Grandquist in 6th. Amendo Malota there. But then it's Bonhomme, Samchek, Manny, Baglin, Bruno from Lazarus. And then Hernandez, who rounds out the top 15. But that was an almighty little scrap in the middle of that place, and I'm just gutted for Mateo Rivals right at the end of that one. Drama with that engine failure.
Yeah, it's probably lost something in the range of 30 or so points with that, maybe more, because he was right up in the higher reaches of the top 10. There is your provisional result. Kalisha, no problems. 3.3 second win over Maxim Bobashov and moved himself back up the order in the intermediate classification into the top 8 again. Mohamed Olivieri Sarsini, brilliant stuff once again from Olivieri Sarsini. That first final of the season in Champions of the Future is very much on with this form. Now that's now a trio of thirds. The driver for the Tony Kart team. Iskender Zulfikari, P4, Henry Domain, P5. Those could be really important points for both Zulfikari and Domain. Grandquist fights through to 6th. Arata Endo was your biggest mover in that race. We didn't even mention the Japanese driver,
No.
such was everything was going on in that one, but up 11 places to P7. Alex Malota up 11 as well to P8. Lucas Bonham and Remy Samchik in the top 10. Andrea Mani 11th, Noah Bagman 12th. Will not be happy about that one. Let's have a look at some of the highlights, and there's going to be quite a few of them from that race.
I can imagine. How long was that race? That'll be
Just
how
the
long
10
this
laps.
highlights package will be as well, I can imagine. Well, the early stages, you know, Baglin holding on to the lead of this one. But there was that worry. You had the drama right at the beginning of that one. Mika Runitz, Melka Milil out in that one. Sami Hugon, Manny Nuvolini, Mateo Rivals, and I think Jesse Phillips was also involved in that one.
Yeah.
And that's another bad result for Jesse Phillips. He's been really struggling this weekend. Really kicking off in that midfield. But it was at the front here. This first overtake from William Kalisha to get through past the likes of Noah Baglin really put him into the jaws of the Forza beast here, because they all started just gang up. Look at it, 3 Forzas all surrounding him now. There was nothing Baglin could do to hold off that attack.
Yeah, and initially didn't quite spot that yellow flag, went for the overtake, then realised, oh dear, we're in a yellow zone, has got to back out of it. That really was a key point in Baglin's race, because it threw him into this pack of drivers looking to break through. He was ganged up a little bit through the course of this race. This was a moment where he was trying to hold off Domain, and this was another one. He gets caught on the outside here, and everybody in the inside line is going to stream through. There goes Cini, there goes Samchik, Bob Brashov, and there's nothing Baglin can do at that point. He's just got to wait for a gap in the traffic.
Yeah, it was a really, really tough one. But that, again, just kept that infield group really, really hectic. Then we saw the breakaways in the top section. We saw, of course, Mateo Rivals breaking away. Remy Samchek there as well, all fighting up in that top section. You're seeing there Lucas Bonhomme as well. He was really getting involved in that one. But it was the drama that happened for Mateo Rivals. Really, really scary one for him. in that latter stage of the race. He was pushing really hard. There was the moments, unfortunately, MP Racing's looked like Grandcrest getting squeezed off the circuit. But yeah, for Mateo Raval's really, really interesting moment there for him, and so thankful he was able to actually get out of the way of the oncoming carts.
Yeah, he did a good job to break away. To say, it was such a shame that it happened to him. Cost him a good number of points. This was before that moment in his battle with Iskender Sulfikari. I think it's just going to be, there. Technical problem.
Yeah.
Axel Caesar's round goes the number 65, puts his hand into the air to make sure that the oncoming traffic can see him, and then bolts away from the scene of the technical failure. Gronquist trying to hold on. Samchik just misjudging things there. Ended up out in the dirt, fell down to P10 in the latter stages of this race. As I say, it just never calmed down, this one. That was a great move by Alex Malota to get to the inside. No problems for William Kalisha, though. Did not have a good first heat yesterday, P16, but that's now a third and a win for the championship leader. He's very much now back on form after those earlier problems.
Oh, certainly so. We look forward to seeing what he will do and continue that trend later on in the day. More racing coming up. Back to the senior category now. Qualifying heat C versus E heading out onto the circuit. And this one will have one of our first drivers in the senior category who's had 2 wins out of 2. Kenzo Craigie, third fastest in time qualifying. He's not let that affect him though. 2 wins out of 2. Here's what he had to say after time qualifying.
Third and final group in qualifying for the senior category here at Rødby for the Champions of the Future Round 4. Kenzo Craigie, fastest in session right at the end of that session as well. How are you feeling out there?
Yeah, we've been trying to dial the kart setup in the whole week, and yeah, we got it right for today. So yeah, it's been a really good day so far. Crossed the line with 1 second to go to get my last lap, so yeah, it's really good.
That was a very lucky last little lap there for you. But tell us about the circuit here. Rødby, very fast, very open, very flowing, but some technical sections out there. How do you reckon it's going to fare for the racing?
Yeah, it looks like you can overtake a lot more than the turbo. It's a lot more wide, fast and flowing, so yeah, I really like these kinds of tracks.
Excellent. It's close in that championship still, but that time still puts you right at that sharp end. Are you ready for this weekend? Are you ready for that challenge?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent stuff. Well, congratulations, faster than group. We'll see you out there in those qualifying heats. Well done.
Thank you.
Very good stuff there to hear from Kenzo Craigie, who sits at the front of the grid and sits on the top of the intermediate standings overnight as well. So another win here would be very, very useful for the reigning OK Junior World Champion. He is going to have his challenges, though, in this race. Yuri Peschel seems to be back on full form for the Tony Kart Racing team. We'll start alongside him on the front row, second on the grid, second for Peschel yesterday in the 2 rounds of heats. Also looking good in the middle part of this international karting season, whatever he's driving, is Noah Wolf. Noah Wolf will start on the third on the grid, on the second row for this one. Had a very strong result last week in Germany for the FIA Karting Championships in KZ2, just off the podium in the final. Back in the senior category for the OKs this week, 8th and 2nd yesterday for Noah Wolf, and was pretty happy with his warm-up this morning as well when I just caught him in Parc Fermé. He seemed to be liking these slightly grippier track conditions that the drivers have got today.
Yeah, indeed. And, of course, he's had a very busy season so far, racing, of course, with the gearbox classes and with the direct drive, so big changes for him. Sweden's Oliver Kinmark. Here he is on your screen, running relatively well. P4 yesterday, DNF at his second, so tough second race for him, but he had that strong performance in the first. One to keep an eye on in this one again.
And was running strongly before that DNF in round number 2 as well. So yeah, Oliver Kinmark, one of the Scandinavian drivers, definitely looking to have a good penultimate round here in Denmark, building up some momentum before a run on home soil at Kristianstad later on in the season. Due to have 28 drivers on the grid for this one, Group C and E. The drivers will get their instructions to head out onto the circuit shortly. I think we've got about 30 seconds before the drivers head out on track. Other drivers to note out for Davide Battaro, I'll throw in there, starting on the 6th row of the grid, 10th and 5th yesterday. And of course, we couldn't fail to mention Joe Turney as well. Joe Turney, who did not have a good round at the turbo, Good to see him back and in really good race trim, using all of his experience. A couple of thirds yesterday for Turney from the 5th row of the grid. The green light has been illuminated at the end of pit lane. The drivers head out for their formation lap. Let's take you through the grid then for this qualifying heat in Groups C and E. It's Kenzo Craigie on pole position. Czechia's Yuri Peschel alongside on the front row. Noah Wolf and Oliver Kinmark form up row 2. Alexander Chartier and Zach Drummond, another driver who had an up and down day yesterday, starts on row 3. Danny Kelleher, podium last time out in Viterbo, starts on row 4 alongside Jakub Kamenek. The top 10 is completed by Joel Pokala and Joe Turney. Paul Andriotis and Davide Bataro go from row 6, completing the first half of the grid on row 7. Sun Yubei and Georgi Zatov.
Sky Parker and championship leader Christian Kostoya go from row number 8 in this one. They've got a lot of work to do from there. Austin Gale back on the scene and with Birilant Racing this weekend on row number 9 with Vanessa Shilkaneta with Tony Cup Racing and her first weekend in a senior. Oscar Gallin and Sanamat Soy go from row number 10. They'll have Elliot Kuczynski and Zach Green on row number 11. Maria Neto and James Anagnosiadis on row number 12. Peter Stiller and Sunna Z on row 13 with Leif Mamina and Mats Van Ruin, also another one of those drivers stepping up into the senior category for the first time this weekend. Will be on the 28th spot of the grid. All 28 karts are out on track, which is good to see. But this one, I am looking forward to a little bit on this one because you've got race winner Zach Drummond in this one. Kenzo Craigie, double race winner. Drummond had a tough day yesterday. That second race, not one to forget, I think, for him. Recuperate today and get on with this one. But again, some really solid results from a lot of drivers in this one, especially from the likes of Joe Turney, who started on the 10th place spot. 2 third places yesterday, doing Joe Turney things effectively. When he has a tough qualifying, really excels in those qualifying heats.
It's something that Joe has been a master of for so many years, is racecraft. This circuit really, really rewards that because of all those opportunities to overtake. Some very shrewd moves through the field yesterday. Keep an eye on Christian Kostoya as well. Did not have a good qualifying yesterday. Is in damage limitation mode. At least with the results yesterday, he is on course for making it through to the final. Let's see what happens in this one. 13 laps underway then for Group C and E. It's a good start for Craigie. It's a good start for Peschel as well. They're immediately looking to break off the front of the field. Wolf defending for 3rd. Drummond trying to go around the outside there for 4th place. And into turn number 4 they go. All looking pretty good at the moment. Kinmark slipped back a little bit. Good opportunity here, though, Anthony, for Craigie and Peschel to break away from the rest.
Yep, certainly is. Now they could really focus here and not really battle, try break away, but we'll have to wait and see on this one. Drummond, he's been squeezed off the circuit. Bring it back on, lad. He does so, but he tumbles back down the order. That is a tough one for him. You could see it as soon as he went off the grass. He was like, the frustration kicked in immediately.
I mean, he did a very good job not to spin. We've seen several drivers go round in that part of the circuit so far this weekend. End of the first lap. Craigie leads from Peschel, Wolf, Keller, Chartier. Pokala's had a good start. Up 3 places to 6th. Kamenek, Kinmark, Drummond and Turney complete the top 10 at the moment. Where is Christian Kostoya? He's gone backwards down to P18 as Drummond looked. Kostoya's off with Kuczynski, and that is a big moment there. That was for 18th place. That is exactly not what you need if you are the championship leader looking to recover back through. And here goes Joe Turney. Turney aggressive round the outside, takes another position there on Kinmark up to 9th place, and the others will know now, as is that Sky Parker on the move. Yes, it is brilliant stuff from Sky Parker now up into the top 10. Kostoya this weekend is in a real spot of bother. He's got a good lead in the championship. He will still be the championship leader by the time we get to the finals. Drummond's fighting through, and Turney's now having a go down into turn 1. Your Turneys, your Craigies, your Jacopo Martinezes, when we see him out later on, they have got to score big through these qualifying heats in championship points if they want to take this title lead away from Kostoya.
No, they're certainly right on that one. They've really got to pull a finger out here to push through, and right now, so is Sky Parker. Look at this, absolutely accelerating away from Jakub Kamenek behind. He's got Davide Bataro now, who's got through past him. So Bataro on the charge. Kinmark is the next one behind. Anthony Otis is there, Austin Gale, Sanazi and Peter Stiller. They're all trying to push through the field right now. Back here though with Joe Turney behind Alexander Chartier. Make that in front of Chartier now as they go through onto the start-finish straight. That's a really strong start then for Joe Turney again on this run, up into 7th place. But it's so open now at that sharp end that this might be a difficult second half of the race for him.
It might well be, but I think the tactics that Turney's going for so far is keep the consistency up, because, as I say, there's so many drivers that have had, Zach Drummond being a good example from yesterday, a race win and then the 23rd. That's going to really drop you back. If you're consistently in the top 5 and have no mistakes on a weekend like this, you're going to be a long way up the intermediate classification, and again, that will transfer into big championship points. Last year's champion in this series looking to fight back after a tough round in the turbo. This is what happened to Kostoya.
Whoa.
Well, I don't think there was much Kostoya could do there. Now, was Kaczynski encouraged into that one? He's definitely got a drop from fairing on that one.
Yeah, I think, Kaczynski's reaction to that one, which was looking behind him and throwing his hand up, would suggest that, he was put into the back of Kostoya. And that's going to be a really tough one for Kostoya to fight back in this, because he's having a really torrid one, and he might find himself struggling to even make it into the final later on this weekend. I think he's still okay, but he's going to be near the back of the grid.
I had him with my unofficial commentary box calculations in the top 20 overnight, so okay, he can maybe afford one bad result, and if he gets good ones in round 4 and 5, he's going to be up at the sharp end and looking to score points later in the weekend. But he's not going to be scoring championship points in this stage now, unless something miraculous happens. This is a good scrap. Sky Parker, good to see Sky moving forward. She was very unlucky in qualifying yesterday, just a little bit of timing off, but still qualified in the middle of the field. She's having a back and forth with Austin Gale. Austin Gale, good to see both Austin and Toby Gale here this weekend. On a bit of a wild card appearance themselves for the Birrell ART team. These are two young drivers, plenty of experience, looking to make their mark this weekend.
They certainly are. Isaac briefly back on that fight at the front. Craig and Pesh still very, very close. Back to this one here, though, Kamenek holding off the likes of Austin Gale now. Sky Parker going through as well. That's nicely timed. Utilising the fellow Birrell Art teammates there and pushing through nicely. This one for Austin Gale, really important weekend on this one. Of course, they are fighting for what will be, their next chapter in the world of their motorsport racing career. A big jump into the world of the Birrell Art team. Really showcasing good pace. They had a great round in qualifying. They've had some tough races so far, but are really showing some good pace over the course of this weekend. Eyes on this, Craigie and Peschel for the race lead. It has stayed 0.2 of a second, and I think this is smart from Peschel. He knows he's got the pace, he's matching there with Craigie, but he's not attacking, and I think that's good, and that's why they've opened up a 2-second gap from anyone else.
Yeah, they've still got quite a few laps in this race to go, so it'd be too early to start going back and forth as if it's a cadet race or something like that. So end of lap number 7, 6 to go. Craigie last time around a 50.505. Showing the track's definitely quicker today. Track is a lot quicker in race trim today. We were seeing 50.4s on pretty much brand new tyres as the best pace from the likes of Roman Kamiak yesterday. All of these drivers at the front, they're 2.5 races and a timed qualifying session through their use on their tyres, and they're matching pretty much that pace from the fastest drivers earlier on in the competition. And credit once again to the whole Max's team for providing a tyre that allows the drivers to push race after race after race. A couple of changes further down the order. Sky Parker's had a problem. Has fallen back down to 15th place. Has just got back ahead of Sunday Bay, so something's happened there. James Anagnostiadis is on the move again. Anthony, we've not mentioned the Australian so far in this race. Had a bad qualifying yesterday. There he is, in the brightly coloured helmet, up 12 places into 12th place. So keep an eye on the 2, 4, 8 in the latter stages of this race. This is almost a repeat of what he did in round 1 yesterday.
Indeed, you saw him very briefly there again on your screens, but looking very comfortable here at the moment. This is that fight on your screen now. Anagnostiadis has got Austin Gale for company just ahead in this road, looking a little fast there on the exit, utilising it straight away. Nicely timed there from Alegnosiadis, and again just showing some really controlled racing over the course of this season. Kamenik down the inside now of Gale, and unfortunately Andriotis also through as well, so Austin Gale losing out of 3 places there in a very short amount of time.
Difficult moments, but it's one of the reasons the drivers like this Rødby circuit, that when you do lose positions, there's so many overtaking opportunities. You can fight back if you pick your battles and you pick your moments. We're on to lap number 10, 9 completed for this qualifying heat between groups C and E. More racing coming up as this 3rd round of heats continues. Zach Green has gained a position past Sky Parker for 16th place. Bit of a quiet weekend so far for the DPK Racing individual. There they are. Green in the very recognisable helmet colours that many a Green use, of course, and Jamie Green, the main man in that family, former DTM driver, used to use back in the day. Here's a nice move. There is Andriotis going for 1, and the energy course showing some good speed this weekend. Yeah,
all of them are indeed. We've seen them, Lev Kritzlov, of course, looking very strong as well in the other classes. So again, looking really, really competitive are the energy course team this weekend. But eyes focus on this one. Gale is not over with this fight. He's got back past Kamenik, squeezes in between the two of them around the outside there. At turn at number 4. That is nicely done there from the driver from Thailand, and looking forward to seeing what he could potentially do here on Andriotis. Not the move down the inside at turn at number 7. Things against it, but still in a very strong part of this race. Lap number 11 we are on this one. Andrew, and still the pace looking mighty strong for the front 2. Yeah, really good. They're managing that gap at 2 seconds, as well. That was one of the VDKs going down the inside. Peter Stiller looking to move up the order into 14th place. 2 laps to go then. A new personal best and fastest of anyone from the race leader through sector number 1. That tells you everything with how Kenzo Craigie is tackling this race. Zach Green at the back of this train, hoping for some positions to be gained in the latter stages of this race. It's just inside, on my calculations, the top 36 overnight. So some positive results today for Zach can give him an easier run through the superheats tomorrow. That's a nice switch back, and yet there's just going to be enough room to get through past Kamenik there. Kamenik, Swunder, struggling a little bit perhaps on tyres. Here comes Sky Parker. Because we've seen Kamenik having to do a lot of defensive work in this race, actually. Yeah, so far, but again, that could just be the mentality of a driver, because, of course, the track's so wide here that they may think that, oh, no, I've got to defend, we're near the end of the race. And then, unfortunately, when you get to that stage, that's where you just start to lose places. It's so difficult to defend here. You have to really position the car so perfectly over the course of a lap, because it's so easy to get a move down the inside or to get a switchback. For someone who's not needed to worry about a switchback is this young man here, Kenzo Craigie. 2 wins yesterday, is looking for his 3rd win today, and is on course for a pole position in that final. But there's a long way to go to find that one out. Kenzo Craigie, 3rd win of the weekend, crosses the line ahead of Yindra Peschel, who claims his 2nd place of the weekend. Noah Wolf takes 3rd ahead of Daniel Kelleher. Zach Drummond from Joe Turning, Davide Batara from Oliver Kinmark, Jörn Pokela, and Alexander Chatier, who rounds out the top 10. Good races there for Drummond, despite that drama right at the start. Kept his head cool this time around and holds on to a P5. Game on. Game properly on in the senior category. Craigie goes 3 from 3. Could still be matched, though, in this round of heats by Roman Kamyat, but right now Craigie goes to the top of the IC. There is your provisional result. Craigie from Peschel, Wolf, Kelleher, Drummond, Turney, Bataro, Kinmark, Pokler, Chartier, your top 10. James Anaglostiadis, biggest mover, up 13, finishes P11. Paul Andriotis, Austin Gale, Peter Stillerman, Zach Green in the top 15. Jakub Kamenik, Sky Parker, Sun Yibei, Elliot Kaczynski, Christian Kostoya in the top 20. Points for Kostoya, but not a large amount of them. We'll need to have good rounds 4 and 5 now. Maria Neto, Sun Anzi, Oscar Gallen, Vanessa Schilkenator in the top 25, completed by Georgi Zazov, Sarah Matsui, Leith Mumina, and Mats van Rooyen
or in the order of the classification there. 27 finishers in total. Mats Monroe in this single retirement. Craigie takes the lead back in the intermediate classification. The advantage at the moment is 18 points over Peschel, but we should note Kamiab and others still to run. Burnett, Krutelov and Turney also in the top 5.
Highlights of this race then, and well, strong start for the front row. Kenzo Craigie and Yindra Peschel, no drama there. You can see them already on the opening lap breaking away. Drama for Drummond off the track at the exit of turn number 7. Composes himself, gets himself back on the track, and does gain back a fair few places in that one to still finish in P5. Championship leader off the circuit. Him and Kaczynski, Kostoya off the track. A big moment there, and you can see he's trying to repair the car as well. That rear bumper folding in on that rear tyre, but showcasing some great determination there from Kostoya to still come away as championship leader at the end of this weekend.
Well, he knows that every intermediate point could make a difference between making it through to that top 36 or not. That's why you saw him continue on. Some good scraps out there involving the likes of Joe Turney. With Kamenik as well. I said Kamenik was just constantly going backwards, it would seem, in this race. Bright race for Sky Parker as well. Not quite the result that she would have wanted, but good to see the race pace coming through. That was another move by Turney on his way to 6th place, and another solid result. Kamenik fighting back there ahead of Sky Parker. Austin Gale would get involved as well, another one of the Birrell ART runners. Would love to see Gale get through to the final on Saturday, and it's looking pretty good for that at the moment. Another good drive for James Anagnostiadis, who continues to rack up the overtakes. That's 7th, 25th and 13th now for the Australian, who, similar to Kostoya, is on a bit of a recovery drive. Paul Andriotis got involved as well, the Swiss driver for the Energy Course team, on his way to 12th place in the end in that race. As it broke down towards the finishing moments of this one, Peter Stiller would also look to get involved in this midfield battle. In the end, Stiller up 11 places to 14th. And hey, let's throw another name in there. Zach Green, the DPK Racing outfit, got into the top 15 by the end of the race. But no problems for Kenzo Craigie. A 3rd win out of 3. Another very mature drive. It really does feel like Kenzo Craigie's developed in terms of his race management in the last 9 months, and adds to his tally of heats wins as he did so at the Turbo for quite a few moments back in round number 3. Let's turn our attention once again, though, over to the junior category. OK Junior out next. This is the final race of the 3rd round of heats for the junior category, and it means we get to see Group A in race action for the first time today, with Group D joining them. There is Bosco Arias, who had 2 wins yesterday, pole position in timed qualifying as well. He was a very, very happy young man yesterday. Well, here we are at the end of the second of 3 groups of qualifiers for OK Junior. We have a new fastest driver within the category, Bosco Arias. Big smile on your face. That is much more like it.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the pace today. This weekend looks really good, so we have to keep pushing. And first of all, I have to say thanks to the team, to Ricky Flynn, and especially to Scott, that I'm a mechanic, that we worked very hard for this pole. Hopefully it's a pole position overall, but this is very good. And also to GFR.
OTK products looking really, really quick in that group. Could you feel the track changing a little bit through those 4 or 5 laps?
Yeah, the track is very lively, so it's very good for the OTK, but I think our setup is very good for this track, and yeah, and that's all.
Prospects for later in the weekend. It's been a tough season so far for you. Is the pressure kind of off, though, because you're a little bit further down the standings?
No, like, I'm not very high in the standings in the championship, so I don't have pressure. I just have to do my race, and hopefully we can go on the podium or win. That.
Well, Bosco, congratulations once again. A great lap out there. We'll wait and see if it's fastest for pole overall, but we'll definitely see you later on in the weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
And very good stuff for him in those first qualifying heats. 2 wins out of 2, and looking to see if he can get that third in this one. But yeah, it's a long way to go in this one. Christian starting alongside him as well, the Canadian. A win and a third as well. 2 very strong contenders at the front end of this field. Let's see what happens, though, as engines fire up. Drivers make their way out onto the circuit. Let's quickly fire you through that full starting lineup. Bosco Arias and Ili Christian on row number 1. It will be Gilles Herman and Will Green on row 2. Michael McGoy and Antonio Pizzonia round out row number 3. Had a tough race in the first one, came back strong in the second for the Italian. Julian Frasnelli and Jean-Martin Rousseau of Panama also had a tough day yesterday, a DSQ and a P10 after a penalty in the second race. So the driver from Panama needs a good day today. Dean Hugendorn and Benjamin Magnac, they go from row number 5. Ash Osteen and Leonardo Gorski on row number 6. They'll have Manuel Marquez and Tobias Jenny on row number 7, with Devin Waltz and Charles Sayer running out the first half of the field on row 8.
Ronan Nagy had a decent run yesterday. Starts on the 9th row of the grid for this one. Is joined by Marcel Szabo. Drew Waltz and Gregor Callas complete the top 20 on row 10. Mariano Lopez did a lot of overtaking yesterday. Can he break into the top 10 once again from row 11? He's joined on that one by Enya Pizzuto. Bit of a disaster yesterday for the Endurance forward. A double disqualification. Needs a big result here from row 12. He's joined by another of the wildcards from the host nation here this weekend. Magnus Mörk starts 24th on the grid. Ebbe Rasum and Hampus Holmberg is an all-Swedish row 13. Felipe Sanchez and Martin Bertolacini go from row 14. William Kim and Abdulrazak Al-Qurashi start on row 15. 31 drivers ready to go racing here at Rødby in groups A and D, completed by triple one of Marcel Szabo alone. Schapler starting alone there on the 16th row of the grid. Quick rundown of the points as we stand. Via Piana in the clubhouse at the end of this third round on 144. Cini 123. Bobrusov 120. Baglin 119. Girardello 118. But we should remember that Bosco Arias is already on 100 points. If he wins this race or finishes in second, he will retake the lead in the intermediate classification. Are we ready to go racing? Lights are out. We are racing for 10 laps here at Rødby. It is a very good start for those on the pole side of the grid. Arias immediately into the lead. Gilles Herman up to second place, but here goes Eli Christian. Eli Christian trying to go back round the outside, fights back into second place. That is why Eli Christian this year is a championship contender. A tenacious fight back through, but he's now got the challenge of the 48 of Michael McGoy. Michael McGoy, as he did yesterday, a very good start. Will Green is through past the championship contender as well and up to third place. This is a test now, similar to what we saw with Noah Baglin a few laps ago, but he fights back, but once again with Will Green. Will Green going side by side. Brilliant start to this race, Anthony.
Oh, fabulous start indeed, and some really strong opening overtakes there from many of the drivers. But now you can already see, look at the huge gaps that have opened up on that opening lap with drivers fighting for position. Gilles Herman had a torrid start to the race on that one. Jean-Martin Rousseau, he had a tough day yesterday. It's continuing today.
Oh.
He is tumbling down the order, and there is Jendrik Svoboda as well, also out of the race. But absolute drama here for the rest of them. Oh, has there been drama for Waltz and another one, Benjamin Magnac? Devin Waltz and Benjamin Magnac have tumbled down the order, and there are yellow flags out in circuit.
Yeah, Dean Hugendorn through into fourth place. Could do a bit of a helping hand here to his teammate. He's going to go for a move on Will Green. That opens the door for Chrisen to step back through into fourth place. What has got into these O'Case Juniors today? They are racing as if their seasons depend on it. It's not quite that stage of the season yet. It's almost a bit of a taste of what we'll get at Kristianstad later on in the autumn, but it's very entertaining stuff here in Denmark. Chrisen has a look down the inside of Hugendorn for third place into turn 3. Michael McGoy has disappeared up the road, and at the back of this train as well, Julian Frasnelli, the young Italian for the Tony Kart Works team, is on the scene. Been very impressed with Frasnelli so far this weekend, continuing to develop out there.
No, certainly is, and we'll keep a close eye on those battles as they progress. But Dean Huguenot under pressure here from behind. Christen down the inside, once again retakes that place away. Will Green trying to get involved here, cannot get that nose down the inside. Fresnelli holding on firm there just behind in P6. This is going to allow the two drivers behind of Jarlath Sayer and Asher Osteen to close in as well, and keep an eye on Manuel Maguez. They're in 9th place, also trying to close on this fight. Down the inside, Fresnelli on Green, gets through, and it's a superb little overtake, but now they're going to lose touch with Hugendorn and Christen further up the road after that overtake. Oh, look at the changes in direction there. Fresnelli all over the road.
Oh, that was brilliant stuff from Julian Fresnelli. Maybe not the most orthodox line into turn 5, but he made it work. Hasn't scored points, championship points so far this season, has Julian Fresnelli, but he's got a good chance of breaking that run here today if he can finish in the top 15. Right now, though, he's trying to hold off Will Green. He's trying to hold off the Williams Formula One Academy driver. It's all stacking up behind as well, with Asher Osteen now losing out to Jarlath Sayer. Jarlath Sayer has been getting a lot of seat time recently. Been racing in some of the national championships as well as he continues to develop in that energy course machine. Good to see Jarlath Sayer, another of the drivers stepping up to the junior ranks this year, continuing to build with speed. He's now up to P7.
Yep, certainly so. These drivers all having a bit of a feisty little scrap here between themselves. Again, that wide entry line there from Fresnelli. It looks like he's the only driver who really throws it out wide going in towards the likes of turn number 5. But at the moment, it's working out for him unless someone can get a nose down the inside. Update on the leaders as we keep our eyes on this. Boscoani is still comfortably in the lead by 1 second from Michael McGoy, who's not able to make a dent in that lead gap. As down the inside, through goes the likes of Asher Osteen making those moves done. Manuel Maguez now getting involved in the fight and splits the two up behind. Jarlath Sayer on that energy course still pushing through. Martin Bertoluccini, unfortunately, is going to picking up a warning flag in that race. There we go, get my words out, as unfortunately, is that Felipe Sanchez walking away. Actually, Drew and Devon Waltz are both out of this race.
Both of D. Waltzers are not waltzing anymore in this race. They will not get good points from this round. Into the second half of it, warning flag is out for Martin Bertoluccini. As here on your screens, Osteen and Jarlath Sayer. Sayer has lost that position to the Fusion Motorsport driver. Team, a set of colours for Jarlath Sayer that he's very familiar with from previous parts of his karting career. Look at Antonio Pizzonia Jr. there as well, another driver who's made a mid-season team change, was with the Fusion Motorsport team, has now switched to the Works Tony Kart team, the son of former Jaguar Formula One racing driver Antonio Pizzonia. Oh, that's a nice move from him down the inside of Sayer, and he's up into 9th place.
Yeah, beautifully timed, no stress whatsoever. And again, we're seeing a lot of those little overtakes here with just how functional the track is for racing. The drivers feel so much more confident to go for those little extra moves through one of the turns. Eyes on this one though, as it all unfolds. You can see the gap starting to open up now between the gaps, the racing that we were seeing. Fresnelli, Will Green, Maguez, Osteen, Pizzonia, Sayer and Nagy. They've all settled down a little bit now as they all try to close back in on each other once again on this lap. Have a look at those retirements again. Obviously, Yimri Kaboda right at the beginning of that one for the Hagman Racing team, unfortunately out of the race. Benjamin Magnac having a moment with Devon Waltz out there. Not sure what happened to Drew Waltz out there. That's the question that I want to look at, because the other one of the Kart Republic drivers, seemingly all on his own. Was it mechanical in nature, or was he assisted?
So sure we'll find out in due course. New fastest lap of the race with Jean-Mateo Rousseau. That's the good news. The bad news at the moment is that the driver flying the flag for Panama is down in 17th place at the moment. Biggest mover out there. 8 positions gained for the 126 of Magnus Mark for the HK Motorsport team, one of the local teams here to the Danish racing scene. Good to see that from one of the wildcards. That's putting Magnus up to 16th place in this race so far. How's things looking in the IC? Well, right now, Arias would be retaking the lead. It's Sonia Jr. down the inside of Ochstein there. Good move from the Brazilian-born driver, flying the flag for Italy. It's an Italian race license that he races under. But either way, that was a superb bit of overtaking again through a part of the course that we have seen some overtaking in, but it isn't necessarily one of the biggest hotspots for moves so far this weekend.
No, that is a very good point you bring up there, but again, showcasing that maybe drivers are starting to deploy it there because people are not expecting it there. So again, when you think of an overtaking hotspot that doesn't seem like a place to do it, suddenly and slowly becomes the main place to do it. So it does change all the time. Back here at the front, Bosco Arias, we've not said anything about him. Lights the flag for the Spaniard. Game is on in the juniors, and Valerio Villapiana will have to settle for second in the points. At the moment, no one can seemingly match the pace of this young Spaniard.
This is going to be 3 out of 3. It's a double pole position for the Ricky Flynn Motorsport team yesterday. The first of those pole sitters has continued to deliver the results in the finals. Oh, and look at this battle for second place. This could be key between McGoy and look at Hugendorf going down the inside. It's going to be a win for Arias. Who's going to take this on the line? Chrisen gets it. Chrisen gets it. That could be really, really key in the IC. McGoy third, Hugendorf. Those three covered by around 600ths of a second. That was a mighty finish.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to how that actually came to be, because Michael McGoy was clear by a second from everyone else. Unless, how on earth did they become 3 wide over the start finish line? We must be really bad at keeping an eye on the races here, actually, because we missed that one massively. Wow. That was brilliant.
That was very good indeed. Bosco Arias goes back into the lead of the intermediate classification. His advantage is still 6 points over Villapiana. I think Eli Christian's going to be a very happy driver right now. Yes, he's not winning, but he is the highest of the championship contenders in the IC right now. There is your provisional result from the race. Arias from Chrisen, McGoy, Hugendorf, and another impressive drive from the Italian Frasnelli. Will Green, Manuel Miguez, Antonio Pizzonia, Asher Ochstein, Jarlath Sayer is your top 10. Roland Nagy, Tobias Trzeni, Leo Gorski, Marcel Szabo, and Gianmatteo Russo all in the top 15. Mariano Lopez, Magnus Mark, Gilles Herman, Martin Bertolacini, and Enya Pizzuto complete the top 20. Look at this on the line. It's going to be that close. Not quite a photo finish, but overlapping carts for second, third, and fourth. And good hustle there from Eli Christian. As I say, that is a 3 extra intermediate points, which could be very important come the end of the day.
Indeed. I was just sort of trying to get my head around about how they got so close so quickly. I didn't realise how close it was there for second place. But for Bosco Arias, solid start to the day. It will continue that trend, I'm sure, over the rest of the weekend. But for the rest of the drivers as well, some really big movers out in that field. But the other thing as well, some really big losses in that race. Also, Benjamin Magnac being one of them, a 20-place loss to finish in P30, one of the second retirements in that race. The start of it, though, pretty calm and clear for Bosco Arias. No real drama for himself. Really strong start for Michael McGoy into second place, and as we thought, seemingly breaking away from the rest of the field. Evidently not with that finish.
Yeah, two rounds in a row where Michael McGoy has made a really, really quick start. I just wonder if it's a bit of a setup thing, that maybe a fast starting kart in terms of pressures then goes off a little bit later on in the race. That was Jindřich Svoboda retiring from the race. That's pretty much weekend done for the Czech driver, which is a real shame. For him. Hope we get to see him race again. Will Green had a good battle with Eli Christian and Dean Hugendorn as well. Dean Hugendorn trying to get a bit of momentum going here this weekend. It's been a bit quiet so far, but had a good back and forth. This was a key point for Eli Christian, getting back ahead of Will Green using the cutback there. Julian Frasnelli, the Tony Kart team, would also get involved. Christian back down the inside of Hugendorn. That would get him back up to third place. Frasnelli would have a go as well on Will Green. Frasnelli in the end would race through to P5. Other drivers involved, Jarlath Sayer, Asher Ochstein, and Manuel Miguez. all for different teams. Good to see the spread of chassis, the spread of manufacturers in the top 10 in that race, Anthony.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, watching that fight there, you know, we were talking about Dean Hugendorn battling away with all of that as, fortunately, Drew Waltz walking off the circuit. Yeah, that was about P4, P5 at the time, and then, yes, amazingly found himself fighting for second place right at the very end of that last lap. And again, still getting my head around it. Yeah, some big moves on this one, of course. Manuel Maguez, he was one to keep a close eye on in the CRG. The Spaniard, up 6 places, was able to close in on that fight near the end of the race as well. Big sense still going on for the drivers out there again. All the way throughout that field, we saw those big moves. And for Antonio Peternia, really showcasing a strong skill set. Here, though, 3 wide, out of the final corner, Michael McGoy in the middle, Chrisen round the outside. Photo finish just for second place. Beautiful sight there for the 3 drivers, but it would be Chrisen on the outside line. Watch it here. Clear advantage from McGoy and Dean Hugendorn. But again, I don't know how they got to that situation because they were fighting away in their own fight for a lot of that race. Well, there we have it. We need to get better at our jobs, Andrew. And the senior category is coming up next. Qualifying heat A versus D is going to be next out on circuit. This will see another one of the drivers who so far this weekend has not lost a race. Roman Kamyab's turn now to match what Kenzo Craigie did earlier on.
Yeah, and also match what his Ricky Flynn Motorsport teammate in the other half of the paddock has already done there with Bosco Harris. As I say, it's been a very good weekend so far for Roman Kamyab and the whole Ricky Flynn Motorsport team. We caught up with him yesterday after timed qualifying.
Second group of seniors here in Rødby for the Champions of the Future Round 4. Roman Kamyab, fastest overall, into the 49s as well. The only driver to do that. That must have been an astonishing lap. How did it feel from your point of view?
It was very good, a little bit stressful because I only got my lap on the last lap. I was in quite a busy group of people and had to judge the gap, but it worked out well.
It certainly did, didn't it? Jensen Vanette's time was very quick in the first session, but you suddenly came away with that 49. But it was a tight session as well because there were so many quick drivers going to the top. And crucially, some of the big names of the championship are a little further down. What does that mean going into the qualifying heats? Is that going to be enough to you? Are you ready for the fight this weekend?
Well, whether they're there or not, I mean, I've definitely got the pace to do well. And yeah, I'm very confident. I had a lot of speed in testing last week and just then in quali. Yeah, I think it's going to go well.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you out in those qualifying heats. But for now, fastest driver overall. And Roman Kamyab, you're on provisional pole position. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, kept that pace up at the start of the qualifying heats. 2 wins out of 2 will be one to keep an eye on. So, well, this man here, Vladimir Ivanikov, good start to his day yesterday. P2 on track. Came away in that second race, a DSQ to him. Did put him backwards in that order. But right now, we'll be focusing on today, which is a new day. Thibaut Ramekers as well. Another very committed driver this weekend. Not had a qualifying heat win so far this weekend, but still not been outside the top 10. A P2 and a P6, still very strong results.
And at times has had some very strong race pace, particularly in that first round of heats. So we'll see what Ramekers can do across the course of these 13 laps. Very intrigued to see how the driver in 4th place on the grid gets on in this race as well. Anthony, there he is, Thomas Pradier of France, now with the Tony Kart racing team, and really seems to have settled in with the Works OTK Tony Kart team there. It seems to have found his home after moving around over the last year or so.
Yeah, indeed. And like you say, those good results, the third and that win, really, really pushing as hard as he can in this opening stage. Toby Gale of Thailand back on the scene, also, of course, alongside with his brother Austin Gale, both now running with the Birolot Racing team. Well, great results in qualifying. Good-ish results in the qualifying heats. I mean, 8th and 13th, he has gone backwards in both of them, but the pace is there, and I think it's just waiting for that moment where he can strike on the rest of the drivers.
Yeah, and on course at the moment with those kind of results, that should be getting him through into the top 36. However, yeah, a lot of racing to go here today. We've still got, for these drivers, 3 rounds of heats. And we've already seen earlier on this morning just how quickly things can change in this sport. Yeah, just to check, I've got Toby Gale inside the top 30 at the moment on our calculations here in the box. 28 drivers should be out there. I don't think we've got any drivers missing off the grid for this one. We'll find out officially in a couple of moments' time. But nice and calm on the pre-grid there are our drivers ready for this last race of the 3rd round. Let's take you through the running order and the grid for this final heat in this part of proceedings for the seniors. Roman Kamiab starts in pole position, Vladimir Ivanikov alongside on the front row. Timo Ramikas, Thomas Brunier, they form up row 2. Toby Gale and Louis Cachet start from row 3. Leo Nielsen needs a good result here. 15th in a DQ yesterday. He's on row 4 alongside Sebastiano Pavan. Fausto Arnado and Jacopo Martinezzi go from row 5. Aston Schopp and Kara Furhand on row 6. Vilma Svan and Boloet on row 7.
Row number 8 will see Markus Šilkunas in new colours, the Tony Kart racing driver from Lithuania on row number 8. He'll be joined by František Sedielski alongside Klara Kowalczyk and Armin Kari Osman of Germany going from row number 9. They'll have Vengar Clemenson and Dragvan Tatoja rounding out the top 20 on row 10. Marcus Juncha and Victor Gustafsson on row number 11. The Swede and former world champion in the world of gearbox racing. Starting this one, the 11th row of the grid. We'll have Jorn Helder and Senamir on row number 12. Radek Vavra and Hugo Mati on row number 13. The entire field of 28 will be rounded out by Antonio Macedo and Narwin Netipaton on row number 14. Nice focusing on this one. And, well, for Kamiab, job is simple.
Yep.
Take a 3rd win, try and match his fellow competitor.
Yeah, if he's to do that, he'll still have the tiebreaker, of course, from timed qualifying earlier on in the race meeting. Scores as they stand: Craigie 150, Peschel 132, Burnett 126, Turney 118, Krutalov 116, Wolf 115, Garst 113, Kelleher 1110. So those are the top 8 scores of these drivers in this race between groups A and D are trying to at least beat for now, with 2 more rounds of qualifying heats after this. Particularly well positioned to do that. Kamiab, as we mentioned, 2 wins so far. Ramikas 2nd and 6th. Pradier 3rd and 1st. Keep an eye on Louis Cachet as well in this race in the red and black helmet for the Victory Lane team, starting 6th on the grid for this one. This is just the kind of setup where the French driver could move up the order a bit.
Yep, just that little bit. Let's see how this all transpires, though, as they go past the nation's flags on the start-finish straight into the tram lines. Lights are out, we are racing. Down it towards turn number 1. It's a good start once again for the pole side of the grid, but Vladimir Ivanikov does slot in there into 3rd and 4th place. They are still in a strong place, but it's all piling up there in the background. You can just see how they got swamped under braking, with drivers all trying to send it down the inside, and unfortunately, pandemonium has struck on the entrance at turn number 4, and unfortunately the driver's out in that race in this stage. Now in the early stage, Bolowet's involved in that one. Klara Kowalczyk's off, Vengar Clemenson, Dragvan Tatoja, Marcus Juncha, Jorn Helder, and Narwin Netipaton. I think Hugo Mati also was caught out in that incident, but that's a big shame for them at the start of the race. Crucially at the front, though, Roman Kamiab leads, but Timo Ramikas is right there to play.
Yeah, really good work from the marshals down at turn number 4, who are going to have this incident cleared by the time the drivers get round. So just local yellows, no need for a slow procedure. That is tremendous work from the team here at the Rødby karting ring. And it means we can continue to enjoy this battle at the front of the field. Roman Kamiab and Timo Ramikas have already had 2 good scraps so far this weekend. They're in the same group as one another, Group A, so they will continue to race each other across the course of this afternoon. You can watch every single moment here on your Champs of the Future broadcast on your platform of choice. Let's have another look at that incident into turn 4. So where does this all begin?
Right there.
Ooh, yeah, so it was the 250 that went round first. That was Clara Kowalczyk, who was encouraged into that one, and then simply nowhere for everybody else to go. Yeah, that one came from a far way back. The 278 victory lane for Vegard Clementson was completely out of control there, but I wouldn't say it was his fault.
No, indeed. Again, a first lap incident. You know, you have all the karts piling into these corners. They are bound to have moments like that. But yeah, very, very tough one. For drivers that did benefit then, of course, you got Martin gaining 4 in that moment, Macedo gaining 6, Vavra gaining 6 as well. As a change for the front, fight is on. Kamyab and Ramakas wheel to wheel here as they all try to switch over. Here comes Ivanikov down the inside, sends it through. Here comes Thomas Brunier, 2 for 1 special out of the final turn, but it's not over yet. Here comes Aston Sharp. He had a tough day yesterday, but he sends it down the inside and gets up into second place. But crucially, that was beautifully timed by Ramakas. He has broken away at the front now. That
was brilliant from the young Belgian. Pradier's going to have another go at Aston Sharp here for second place. Sharp needs a big result here to pull himself back into play. A retirement and then a disqualification after an incident with Zach Drummond in the second round were his results yesterday. So he's despite being good in qualifying, time qualifying, he is a long, long way down the intermediate classification right now. There's a big send down the inside from Leo Nielsen. Nielsen also had a disqualification after an incident in round 2 yesterday. Also, look at this scrap going on between Thomas Pradier. Pradier has got the switchback, but has he got the power down the straight to get alongside Sharp into turn 1? Sharp round the outside, shuts the door on the Frenchman. That's very brave stuff indeed, as through comes Cara Furhand as well. Cara Furhand up into the top 6. Don't think we've seen this so far this weekend for the driver flying the flag for Singapore, racing for Ward Racing. Of course, where has Kamyab dropped to all of this? It's down to 8th place. So this is going to be a real test now for Roman Kamyab. We've seen the race pace be very, very good in clean air. What has he got in terms of being in amongst it, in the middle of the pack? Can he make progress back through the field? He's trying to go around the outside of Toby Gale there. That opens the door for Vilma Svan to come back through. Kamyab's got to get his elbows out. As through as well is Sebastiano Pavan. Pavan there in the green and red helmet is now on the attack for the intermediate classification leader. You can see the frustration for Roman Kamyab at this point. A couple of laps ago he was in control. He was looking at retaking the lead in the IC. Now he's going backwards in this race as Pavan takes away his 8th place.
Yeah, he obviously tried to fight back so soon earlier on as Fastaminado getting the moves done there just behind. Yeah, he tried to get that move done straight away back on Ramakas. The problem is that because it was so early on in the race, all the other drivers were still there and they were able to capitalise straight away. Drama for Senmina and Victor Gustafsson. They've both just lost out in 3 places. Machedo, Crochet and Vavra have all got through as, here we go, back down the inside. And now Kamyab through past Pavan, and it's all starting to kick off just that little bit more for these drivers. And the more you see that, the slower they're going to go, and the further back into the pack they're going to go. These drivers have all gone through ahead. Pavan's back down to 11th place now, but this is the rest of the drivers all trying to break away. Tom Pradier, 2nd place, Nilsson, Sharp, and Kanifayan as well. Right there, this is the battle for 2nd place on your screen, albeit much further up the road.
And all this changing back and forth is just handing this race to Timo Ramakas right now. It would move Ramakas into the top 5 in the intermediate classification. Kamyab would drop to 4th at the end of this round. As I say, was overnight leader on tiebreakers from time qualifying. Senna Munier is under investigation for potentially causing a collision earlier on in the race. He's currently running in 19th place on the road. Pradier has got into a bit of a rhythm now, is edging away from Leo Nielsen there in 3rd place. Aston Sharp using a little bit of the curb out of turn number 1 into the first major overtaking zone of turn number 3. This race seems to have settled down, Anthony.
It has indeed. For the time being, though, we're only halfway through this race at the moment. Lap 8 of 13. Let's see how this all goes for the drivers. Still, Ramakas with that 3-second lead from the rest. As a look at your movers through the field. Shado, 10 places right now into P17 on a really good charge right now, and very close to the likes of Totoroja and Jacopo Martinez. Jacopo Martinez he's had a tricky day. You know, was very lucky yesterday in his second race. That red flag, of course, that came out, of course, with the incident between Chiara Mattiga and Lewis Francis. He was already out of that race at that point, but because that red flag happened on the opening lap, he was able to get a restart in, and then he came away with the P5.
Yeah, he was the luckiest Italian in the field. I think, as you say, it was a potentially weekend-changing moment that he got the reprieve from the race that, in terms of the history books, that never was. But at the moment, he's not really converting that opportunity into a good result here. 15th at the moment, similar to Christian Costoya. I would still expect to see Jacopo Martinez in the final, in that top 36 cut-off from the 80 or 90 so drivers that we've got here this weekend in the senior category. But the key is, if you're not in the top 15 in either the intermediate classification or the final intermediate classification, that's the one after the super heats tomorrow morning, you are not scoring further championship points. He is one of those drivers around 50-odd, 60 points behind Christian Costoya, but is not going to be closing that gap down at the moment. That's going to be handing the opportunity to the likes of Craigie, to the likes of Turney, to the likes of your race leader in this one, Thibaut Ramekers. They could take over as the closest challengers to Costoya by the time we get to Saturday's final.
Yes, certainly so. But so many of these drivers have looked competitive this weekend, and this track, I do remember it back in 2023, how competitive those finals were. So again, looking forward to seeing what will happen there. And that was, of course, a decider in the championship back then for the OKJ and OK categories. But let's see how this one goes for this weekend. On to lap number 11 now of this race. And still everyone just holding into position right now. No changes there for anyone inside the top 20.
Kamiab making a bit of a recovery. He's back up to 7th place in this race now, Anthony. That pulls him back ahead of Yuri Peschel in the intermediate classification. So, you know, it's like that when we get to the end of today, the end of the 5th round of heats, that will convert through into some championship points, 2 championship points to be exact for Roman Kamiab, although he is a bit further behind in the championship stakes within the senior category. End of lap number 11, Ramekers still leads by just under 2.8 seconds. The pace last time around pretty even across the top 3. They are all in the 50.4s. Fastest driver on circuit though, with a 50.2 that time around, Roman Kamiab. So again, indicating that the track, 4 race conditions, far more rubber's been laid down over the last few races, and yesterday as well. It's in a really, really good place at this moment.
And the temperature's good as well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit muggy, a little bit humid, a little bit out there. That may just be in the commentary box. But, you know, 21 degrees, nice temperature for the engines to run. It's not too hot or anything like that. The track temperature, I can imagine, is going to be still a bit low here. There's no sun hitting the track right now. There's still low cloud cover all the way over it, but it is still a nice day for racing. Oh, there you go, Sharp saying to get up and go, or to Leo Nielsen, sorry, to go. Don't defend on this last lap, albeit, well, Sharp was going to look to the inside there. So could we see a change for 3rd place on this final lap of the race? Sharp again needs these good results, of course, but does he want to risk a 4th place finish for just a 3rd?
Well, that's a big question, especially when he's had 2 poor results so far this weekend. We are on the final lap of this race. Nielsen feels the need to softly defend there for 3rd place, but here's going to take 2nd place in this one. The pace from Ramekers in this race has been remarkable. We'll come back to his fastest lap after we see him take the checkered flag. Thibaut Ramekers over the line, takes another 50 points, and it's close on the line there. Sharp got him. Sharp got 3rd right at the end there, ahead of Nielsen. Thomas Prodier, a little bit further up the road, will take a good haul of points, 44 of them in the intermediate standings for 2nd place. But there is your race winner, Thibaut Ramekers, a 50.163 on the penultimate lap there, Anthony. That is less than 2/10 off what we saw in qualifying yesterday. That is magnificent pace.
Yeah, really, really strong pace. And this young man here certainly is looking for a better day today. That's his best result there, a P1. Back on the top spot for the Belgian driver, ahead of Thomas Brunier in second for France, and Aston Sharp, like you say, just getting it at the end in third place. Nilsson from Ferhan, Ivanikov from Kamyab, Pavan from Svan, Toby Gale rounding out the top 10. For Stalinardo from Jacopo Martinez, Sejeleski from Kara Osman, from Marcus Shulkunis, who rounds out the top 15, Drago Troja and Louis Cochet, Antonio Macedo from Seneminir, Radek Favre, Hugo Marti, Vengar Clementon, who round out the 22 finishes in that race. The retirement, Victor Gustafsson, not sure what happened to him. He's running on the CRG chassis, but with the Gelomini team, which means he's on the TM engine, not the IAME engine. Bolawet also out of the race, Clara Kowalczyk, Marcus Junscher, Jorn Helder, and Noen Netipaton out of the race. That would have been from that first lap incident at turn number 4, which unfortunately resulted in many retirements. And we will see how that all transpired in these highlights. And for the start of this one, Kamyab and Vladimir Ivanikov, relatively decent start. Keep an eye on Ivanikov, because right at the start, you can see him now. He's on the outside of his fellow teammates. He does manage to hold on to third place. After that, gets swamped by the field. And then this happens in the background. The pile-up ensues. Nowhere for a lot of the drivers to go. You can see there was another one that went off further up the order. That was the Paolo Bolawet all by himself on the exit of the turn, clouting into the barrier. But that moment there, a lot of damage to a lot of karts, and unfortunately, a lot of retirements.
Yes, not good moments for drivers in that second half of the field who would have wanted to break through and get their Fridays going quickly. Good runs from Aston Sharp. This was the key moment for Roman Kamyab. Ramikas went for the move. Kamyab came back. This brought everybody else into play. Ramikas got a good bit of drive, and it was this point here where Kamyab realised, oh no, I'm in a bit of bother here. Down the inside went Ivanikov. Pradier was on the move as well. Aston Sharp, and just like that, having made not really any errors at all up to that point, Roman Kamyab all of a sudden found himself down in around 5th or 6th places. Aston Sharp was brave on the way through, took second place away from Thomas Pradier. Good race as well for Kara Furhand, racing into the top 5 again of 7 places from where he started.
Yeah, indeed. Some really big movers in that race. And Kamyab, well, he didn't give up, though, did he?
No, he didn't.
Roman Kamyab, despite that drama, did manage to push his way back to 7th place, was setting the fastest laps of the race and all that. That fastest lap was taken away at the end. Ramikas did take that one to kind of cement his commitment to being at the front of the field for the rest of the day. But still showcasing some good pace. There he was across the line. No drama for Ramikas whatsoever. Clear 2.7 seconds from the rest of the field. Certainly looking a lot stronger going into today. And there was how close it was across the line. Again, Sharp just ahead of Leo Nilsson, managing to take that third place away. Well, there you can see clean-up operation still underway. What can we expect for the next few races? Well, we'll be back with groups B and E onto the circuit. They will be the next 2 races before we go into the lunch break. Then after the lunch break, we're back with groups D and F for the juniors and seniors. Then it's over to groups A versus C, D versus E, A versus F, and then we round out the day with groups B versus C. The last race due to start at 5:05 local time here.
All to look forward to. Just to cover at the end of that third round, how do things look in the seniors? Craigie 150, Pradier 135, Kamyab back up to third at 132. We'll be back in a few moments' time as the 4th round of heats begin after this.
It makes life a lot easier out the track, so you don't have to worry about school and on-track performance and grades and all that sort of stuff.
The school understands exactly what I'm doing. They understand, how important it is for me, and the schedule that they, cater for me is really well balanced, and I really enjoy it.
It's a very fine balance between his sporting career and also his studies. He doesn't have to compromise on either. I'm very happy that Minerva has supported us through this journey.
The communication is great, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I think MVA would help a lot of other races. A lot of people come into the track and asking about it. What do you do for homeschool? Like, how does it work? And I always say, Minerva, you need to contact them and get going with them because it's made my life so much easier.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching live coverage of the Champions of the Future here from the Rødby karting ring in Denmark. We are, well, nearly at the midway point of today's racing as OK Junior qualifying Heat B versus E is going to head out onto the circuit. And once again, fresh after a win at the beginning of the day, Valerio Villapiana back out on track and looking to emulate what he did at the start of the day.
Yeah, 2 wins so far for Villapiana, but kind of the secret's out the bag now. That Valerio Villapiana is a proper contender here this weekend. Great scenes here at Rødby. Great to see the great array of nations flags there overlooking the pit straight. There is the scene on the pre-grid. Villapiana in the foreground on pole position. William Kalesia for company this time around on that front row of the grid. Kalesia very strong, of course, earlier on in his third heat, looking to bag some more championship points. The championship leader's advantage at the start of the weekend, 221 points ahead of Critten's 193. Evan Purcell has definitely been getting stronger and stronger in terms of race trim as the weekend has gone on. We'll start this race from third. Henry Domain, will he be able to do that little assist that he gave to Kalesia through turn 1 this time around? It was a big part of their previous race, Anthony. Yeah,
it certainly was, and of course all 3 of those forces there, Zulfikari, Domain and Kalesia, certainly will be one to keep an eye on in this race for the 3 drivers who are all in their own teams here. Valerio Villapiana, of course, with Koski. You've got the Ricky Flynn of Evan Purcell and the Paralin of Giacomo Giusto. They will have to deal with 3 Forzas all on the other side of the grid. As engines fire up, drivers make their way onto the track. Let's take you through that grid. Valerio Villapiana looking once again for another qualifying heat win. We'll have William Kalesia alongside Evan Purcell and Henry Domain on row number 2. They'll have Giacomo Giusto and Iskender Zulfikari on row 3. Daniel Lorente and Albert Mateo Rivals go from row number 4. They'll have Denny Babacek and Remy Samcek on row number 5. Nathan Capin and Andrea Mani on row 6 with Luke Tal and Sebastian Eskandari on row 7. Ludovic Amatola, Bjorn on his own on row number 8.
Henry Constant-Kumpen and Arata Endo start from row 9. Alessandro Chuchot raced well last time out. So he's on the 10th row of the grid. He's joined by Melka Milel for this one. Mark Pilipenko and Alexander Lazarus are on row 11. It's Xavier Dudkovsky and Mika Runitz on row 12. Christian Alexander Rust and Max Lacroix starts on row 13. Amir Sabarov, Daniel Oliver go from row 14. 13 strong field down to 29 now with Diaz de la Vega not taking the start. It's completed by row 15, Wendy Bow and Amelia Vashmerska.
Well, some tyres have now been deployed, Andrew. We were asking that question earlier on of when are we going to see some drivers deploy those. We've only got 3, so again, the number's still relatively low, but they're coming from the back of the grid here. Alexander Lazarus, 22nd place. Has deployed some on the left-hand side. Sabarov as well in 27th, and Daniel Oliver as well in 28th have all deployed a fresh set of tyres on the left-hand side of their kart. Now, again, we saw one driver deploy them earlier on in the day as well. Ingo Pedrotti, he deployed them on the left-hand side. Didn't make a good dent in the pack, though, despite the fact of that. And again, that is showcasing that maybe the track not diminishing these tyres too much.
Or maybe that the delta between a used tyre and a new tyre out on track simply just wasn't big enough but of course, everyone here who hasn't changed tyres, they've done TQ in 3 heats on their tyres already. So let's see how it goes for those 3 competitors. Are we ready for a race start this time around? The lights are not going out.
No,
we'll go around again.
I did think that one was going to go around again. I think a little bit too quick on the front middle of the pack there, a bit spread out. Yeah, we weren't all fully in formation there. And yes, I think a good call there from our start man on the grid, Daniel Ashton, who is working alongside Martin Bean this weekend. And of course, very closely communicated with the race control team, who we saw earlier on, who definitely work hard over their weekend. Right, eyes on this then as they get themselves squared away. A second attempt at this one, and a second attempt for Valerio Villapiana, who, again, we've been impressed with the composure of the young Italian, fighting up at this sharp end.
Oh, absolutely. He's been dealing with the situation very, very well indeed. But again, this is another new question to him. Can he deal with a championship leader now?
Yeah.
Can he deal with a driver that we know in race trim has been very, very consistent across the course of this 2025 Champions of the Future season so far? Round the final corner, heading towards those tram lines. It's so tempting to get on the gas a little bit too early. Will the lights go out this time? Yes, they will. 10 laps underway for OK Junior. Very busy start in the midfield there, and problems for one of the DPKs that will catch up within a moment. Villapiana has broken off the front of the field. Evan Purcell has got up into second place immediately. Collegia checking over his shoulder. Domain trying to fight through as well to aid his teammates and his own prospects in this event. So third and fourth at the moment for the Forzas. I thought it was Nathan Kappen. It was Nathan Kappen off at turn one. So it's really not been the kind of weekend that Nathan Kappen, having qualified decently, the races have not gone his way. He has not come through sector number one yet. He is allowed an attempt to get going on lap one, just the single attempt, but it doesn't look like it's been successful, and if it has, he's a long way off the back of the field.
He's a very long way back now as we go wheel to wheel over the start-finish line, one-handed as well over the start-finish line there for a couple of our drivers, but for Domain holds on to that position. Sofakari trying to get through as well, but now Daniel Miron having to deal with this fight as he slots in between the two of those drivers as this race progresses on to lap number 2. But keep an eye on this field right now, because that's a large battle that we're going to see for fourth place downwards. The top 3, though, have broken away nicely.
Gotta say, much stronger performance so far this weekend from Daniel Miron Lorente as Denny Babicek's trying to move up the order and has got one. Oh, is off the road there when one of the Forzas is able to get back on circuit now. Was that Solficari running wide out of turn number 8, as it's all going on as well, and through turn 11 is Samchik's trying to find a way back up the order. No, it wasn't Solficari. Oh yes, it was. Solficari's dropped down to 9th place. As off the road now is Giacomo Giusto. Again, it's a wide circuit, but it goes from tarmac to very much not tarmac very, very quickly here. Everybody trying to get themselves sorted in the middle of the pack. Off the road goes Eskandari Morandi all the way down the order now. That's not gone well for Sebastian Eskandari Morandi at all. As, is that the problem for Villapiana? It is!
Oh,
Valerio Villapiana, who was leading this race comfortably, has got a technical problem. He's got no speed. What has happened here to the driver second in the intermediate classification after 3 rounds? He hasn't put a foot wrong all weekend so far, but something has gone wrong here. It's all kicking off once again in the second half of the field. Villapiana surely is going to be into the pits and out of this race, and it's William Collegia who inherits the lead.
Well, I think, mechanical ground. I think they're a little bit of a loud exhaust as well, so maybe there was a bit of contact there between the two of them that has caused that to happen. As look at this absolute fray happening here in the mid-pack. As you can see, drivers pushing through as hard as they can. Luke Tal is in the middle of that fight as wheel-to-wheel here. Mazzola and Rivals trying to go through. Now you've got the likes of Grosjean trying to push through. Eskandari there, Pilipenko, Lazarus, Sabrov, Dukovsky, Rust and Daniel Oliver as well, all inside this fight. But crucially, it's being led by Ludovico Mazzola in 12th place. Down the rest of the field. Back here at the sharper end of the field, this is Denny Babicek into 3rd, past Daniel Miron.
Good stuff. I will make this point about Daniel Miron Lorente. Much improved weekend. Got to a final for the first time in Champions of the Future 2025 at the Turbo last time. That was a big step forward. Now we're talking about championship points being scored potentially by the young Dutch driver by the end of this phase. He's been a bit feisty out there as well, and learning how to race with the likes of your Babiceks and your Solficaris and your Domains across the course of the last few races. But a driver who I remember seeing at Shennington many years ago when he was a Bambino, racing very well here in OK Junior. Here's a replay of what happened to Viapiana. That was a little bit of afters with another sector. Oh, it's off and out of the race is one of the victory lanes, and it's Reibold and Luke Tal who is out, and that could be weekend over in terms of competitive sense for Luke Tal. It has been a very, very difficult day so far today. 15th and 14th yesterday. That's 2 DNFs today for the Fusion that wasn't Reibold. Apologies. I think it was it Mark Pilipenko? Yes, it was Mark Pilipenko falling down the order as well. That is a real problem for a driver who's been doing well so far in this round, Anthony.
Yeah, he certainly has, and I can see another driver walking away in the background also. That wasn't one of those two, so I'll try and figure out who that was as well. So drama's ensuing down to the midway point of this race. Seemingly though, unfazing these two drivers as down the inside goes Iskender Sulfakari on Daniel Miron, pushes his way through. That driver, I think, was walking away was Xavier Dukowski. He's just tumbled down to 25th place.
Yeah, not a good moment for the Polish driver in car number 50. Out of this one, Arata Endo going pretty quickly out there. Anthony has just set the fastest lap of the race, a 51.896.
Well, he snuck under our radar earlier, didn't he? Arata Endo, and we didn't mention much about him. And he's doing exactly the same in this one again, 51.896. He had a very quick time and siding his way through the field quite nicely. He's on a 9-place gain right now. So that's how it happened. Just getting too many carts into one. They've locked onto the front. Both of them not happy, but you know, for Luke Tal, that's a disaster for him today. Not the results he would have wanted at all.
No, here's your battle for the race lead. Kalija and Purcell being pursued by Denny Babacek there in 3rd place. Iskender Sulfikari in 4th. Just a note for Viapiano, it's not weekend over, of course. He's still got a good number of intermediate points on the board. He will lose position in the intermediate stakes, though, to Kalija as things stand. Kalija up to 162, Viapiana 153. As another new fastest lap of the race comes from Sebastian Eskandari, who's still circulating out there. He's got back up to 13th place, so good stuff there from the Aussie after a difficult start to the race. Biggest mover of them all at the moment, Amir Sabarov, up 11 spots for Forza Racing, up to 16th. And I've been impressed with Forza Racing again as a team, Anthony. We've been singing their plaudits in terms of qualifying trim, single lap pace. It's been very good across the course of the season, but they seem to be getting stronger and stronger over these 10-lap and longer races. Their race pace wasn't the best in round number 1, but they've worked very hard to get back into a winning position by these mid-stages of the qualifying heats.
No, exactly. They have shown great pace not only this season, but in previous seasons gone by as well. They've taken drivers to European titles as well, so you know they definitely know what they're doing as a satellite team working with the OTK products, but still looking good. Down the inside though, Evan Purcell is finding some pace there, but a little too much pace because he's outbraked himself, and back through goes Kalija and the two. That's the first attempt at him. Kalija knows that Purcell is there, knows that he means business.
Yeah, that will have caught Kalija's attention quite a fair bit on that occasion. Checks over the shoulder, sees that there's no need to defend through the first couple of corners here. We are now on the final lap of this heat. It's the last one before the lunch break. Could William Kalija go to the top of the intermediate classification before the next couple of races in this 4th round? This is Kalija starting to build with momentum. This is dangerous for the other championship contenders, for the likes of Eli Christian. Noah Baglan, his teammate Henry Domain, is still circulating in this race, but down in 5th. This is going to be the key point for Purcell. Not close enough this time, though. Kalija has managed this heat incredibly well.
Yeah, and that is smart, actually, from Kalija, because I think with Evan Purcell setting it down the inside, he was thinking, right, I'll need to defend here, because this is where he wants to do it. But he didn't defend, and he kept that lead. Across the line he goes. Kalija takes it from Purcell, 1/10 of a second separating the two of them. Denny Babacek holding on to 3rd place from Zulfikari. Domain in P5 from Daniel Lorente. Andrea Mani from Samchek. Arata Endo, again, 9th place for the driver from Japan. A good run in that one. Giacomo Justo rounding out the top 10. But for Kalija, Yeah, like I was mentioning, that was a smart not to go defensive there into the hairpin. A quick check of the shoulder going, nah, he's not close enough, I can do this. And then if he had gone defensive, that would have put M. Purcell right on that rear bumper going into that last part of the track.
Indeed, very experienced driver is William Kalesia, and well, at least for now, he sits at the top of the intermediate classification with a lead of 9 points over Valerio Villapiana. Once again, showing just how quickly this sport can change. There's your provisional result. We've run through the top 10, so let's carry on with Henry Constant coming in 11th, Matteo Rivals 12th, Sebastian Escandari Morandi in 13th, ahead of Alessandro Truchot and Alexander Lazarus. So one of your new tyre runners there did go forward, but not massively forward, just 7 places gained for Lazarus. Ludovico Mazzola, Wen Yubo, Mika Runitz, Max Lacroix and Amir Sabarov all in the top 20. Christian Alexander Rust, Daniel Oliver, Amelia Vishmerska, Malcolm Millel and Xavier Dudkovsky, the last of the 25 finishers in that race. 4 retirements, Pilipenko, Tal, Villapiana and Kappen, and one driver who did not take the start of the race, Santiago Diaz de la Vega, who does not race for the rest of this weekend. Well, those who've been at trackside watching the OK Juniors will head back for a little bit of lunch and prepare for the next set of races. After it, we'll have a look at the highlights from that final race of this part of the day for OK Junior.
And it was a pretty feisty one in this one from the word go. Right to the beginning, unfortunately, drama there. Nathan Kappen off into the gravel trap at T1. Spat out of the field from the back of the grid, not the start of the race he will have wanted. For the front runners, Kalesia able to break away. Purcell, though, kept with him, but then the drivers behind all starting to kick off a little bit here. This is where we started to have that really big scrap between the rest of the field. Domain, Daniel Miron, Andrea Mani, Remy Samchek all around in that fight. Giacomo Giusto, Endo Arata was able to close in through that order as well. You had Matteo Rivals also back after that engine problem in this previous race, looking a lot stronger in this one. He was able to close through, but the drama right at the beginning of that one, Valerio Villapiana, the breakdown for him, and him retiring from the race was, I think, the biggest shock from that one. As you can see, everyone utilising the grass as much as they possibly can. Very slippy on that grass there as Sebastian Escandari trying to fight back through. This is where the engine troubles started. Clearly mechanical in nature, just no power, and I could hear that there was something louder out there. I don't know if it was exhaust or anything, but a very unhealthy engine.
Yeah, not the results that the Koski Motorsport team would have hoped for. More drivers having thrills and spills through turns 3 and 4. That was the number 20 MP kart racing machine of Mika Runitz going off the road. Decent drive from Denny Babacek as well, up 6 places in that race on the way to 3rd overall. That was a move on Daniel Miron Lorente. This was the moment we lost both Luke Tal and Mark Pilipenko, who got together, shall we say, out of turn number 7. It is a very tight part of the circuit here. Not the first time that we've seen 2 drivers exit 2 drivers right through that part of the track. More moves going on. Good recovery from Iskender Zulfikari as well after that off-track excursion earlier on in the race. In the end, he would be P4. Purcell went for the lead. A little bit too much speed, though, on this occasion through turn number 9. That allowed Kalesia to get back up underneath, who then controlled it through to the checkered flag to take another win in the heats in his Champions of the Future 2025 season. And after a difficult start to things yesterday, Anthony, I think the Australian's going to be in a very, very happy state now. He's got a bit of momentum going. He's looking good ahead of the final round.
Yeah, he certainly is. Looking forward to seeing what he will do later on. We will take a short ad break now. Do not go anywhere. One more race to go before we head into the lunch break. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to live coverage here of the Champions of the Future here in the Rødby circuit in Denmark. We are heading into the last race before the lunch break, qualifying Heat B versus E, heading on to the circuit for the senior category. And once again, talk of the town on this one will be tyres, of course. Big names who haven't had a good qualifying now in this one, Andrew, starting to feel the pressure and deploying those tyres pretty early on.
Yeah, Christian Costoya is the name that really jumps out from those who've gone for a new half set. Also Zhang Jose, Francois Cadal, Sarah Matsui, Stylianos Kolovos and Mats Rødby are all on some new boots for this one. Here's your grid for the last race of the morning and early afternoon session. Denton Burnett and Yuri Peschel on the front row. Lev Krutelov and Oliver Kinmark row 2. Lewis Francis will not take the starters out of the event through injury, so Zach Drummond will be on his own on row 3. Oliver Rasmussen and Jakub Kamenik go from row 4. It's Boris Lyson and Joe Turney on row 5. Chiara Battig racing very bravely in that previous round of heats. She's on row 4 alongside Davide Bataro. Last of the first half of the field, row 7, Filippo Sala and Georgi Zazov.
Rest of the field will see those new tyres be deployed. Zhang Jose and Christian Costoya on row number 8 with a brand new set on the left-hand side. Ella Hakkinen and Vanessa Schilkenater on row number 9 with Francois Cadal and Sana Matsui on row number 10, also with them, both brand new set on the left-hand side. Chloe Lugabraid and Zach Green on row number 11, they'll have Roland Cooklane and James Anagnostiadis on row number 12, Stylianos Kolovos and Sana Z on row 13 with Carl Lindehart and Mats Ruin on the final row of the grid on the 14th row. Kolovos and Van Ruin, as also mentioned, also brand new set of tyres all on the left-hand side. Everyone so far on the left-hand side. One of the staple viewing points from the weekend is on top of one of those, but no workers there today, and they will not have the perfect view on top of one of the windmills. The main viewing point is on the banking there, as you can see, that getting filled up nicely, as well as on the side of the circuit right on the start-finish straight. Also plenty of places to view from, as well as the cafe here at the circuit, which I've got to say does incredible toasties.
Very good. I've not sampled one yet. I've just had a thought that's probably going to make me quite unpopular. Is some of the tyre strategy here almost with the weather in mind, that if you're trying to hold your tyres back for Saturday morning, if it's wet, you're not necessarily going to need to use them, so try and get the bonus out of them now, well, in case there is any wet weather later on in the meeting.
I can tell you who's not going to like you right now, and that's the people running the tyre park, who's probably now been scrambling to unpack a load of wet tyres. Right then, here we go into the tram lines. Are we racing? Yes, we are. Down towards turn number 1. It's a good start for the inside road, covering off the attack. It's Jensen Burnett from Yindra Peschel, who has to slot into 3rd place. There you can see the energy course of Lev Krutelov up into 2nd place as the rest of the field all fight for position now. There, the Koski Motorsport machine of Oliver Kinmark holds on to 4th place as there's a cart going the wrong way down the grass onto oncoming traffic. Now, who on earth was that? It was Vanessa Schilkenater. That, unfortunately, I don't think is going to look too well in the eyes of the officials.
No, I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit confused as to how she even got there on that particular occasion. Oh, Boris Lyson having a bit of a scrap with the 222 of Oliver Rasmussen. Rasmussen loses out there in the 205. Comes through, that's all getting a little bit tight there, and look at Costoya flying through the order. Here we go, championship leader. New Maxxis Prime tyres on his wagon, is absolutely flying through the order, is already up to 9th place. This is a bold, bold play. It's a brave play from Christian Costoya, but he is the kind of driver who can make it work. Burnett leads from Krutelov, Peschel, Kinmark, Drummond up to 5th place, Rasmussen, Turney in there as well. These are all drivers on used sets as there's another driver out. I think it might be Georgi Zazov has come to a stop out there. Sunanzi as well is also not circulating around the circuit. And look at this going on the attack. Another of the drivers with new tyres. Zhang Jose takes 9th place off of Costoya.
Yeah, again, really showcasing that maybe now is a good time to deploy those tyres, because we've not really seen this push from the drivers. It's down the inside. Look at this for the race lead. Peschel and Krutelov absolutely wheel to wheel through turns 1 and 2. But Peschel gets through, and so does Jensen Burnett, so does Kinmark. Krutelov goes from 1st down to P4.
That's just great karting. That is fantastic racing as Kinmark now goes for the move on Burnett. Peschel's gone. Peschel's pushing away now. He has these three scrap for second place. Krutilov gets back down the inside of Burnett and retakes third place. Start procedure infringement potentially for Oliver Rasmussen. That's being checked by the race officials. That's come up on our screens. This has been a very, very busy first few laps here in the last race before the lunch break. There is Peschel. What is the gap that he's got now? It was around 6/10. It's growing now towards 7/10. Really big lap this now for the race leader to continue to establish his dominance on this race. As further down the order, out is Francois Cadal on the DPK Racing 236. Boris Lyson initially was dropping down the order, but it's just hopped back up. I think it's just a transponder issue.
Yeah, I think so as well, but very seemingly at the same part of the track with each other. Eyes on the rest of the field then as, oh dear, pulling in. That's one of the Kart Republics going no further. That is still in a Skolovos from Greece. He will go no further in this one. Still actually quite close to the front here, Andrew. Peschel breaking away as there's a bit of drama in the background of this field. Drivers going off, Ella Hakkinen being that driver on the Fusion machine. But yeah, Peschel in the lead. Kinmark their second, Christoph Burnett. They're still very close out on track, and I can imagine we'll see some fireworks between Burnett and Krutilov here.
Yeah, you would imagine so at this stage of the proceedings. Burnett trying to get down the inside, or have a think about going down the inside of the energy course there in the 307. Just looking a little bit further down the order, who's coming through? Well, Zhang Jose, we've talked about, is up 6 positions now. What happens here? That's not nice.
That was quite nice.
That's not nice at all for the 294 of Georgi Zazov. So that's how Zazov left the race. Kolovos obviously with the damage there as well. Oh, it's off the road is Zhang Jose. That's not the right way to get around the Rødby karting ring. That was almost like we were on version 1 of the Rødby karting ring when it was a much shorter circuit. End of lap number 5. Now surely that's going to come up as something that the race officials will look at, because if he's not completed a full circuit of the track, then he's going to be in a bit of bother.
Yeah, he certainly will do, and that's a big loss for the fact that he's deployed new tyres now in that one, and has found himself right down the back of the field. Eyes back on this one. Can you believe it? We're only on lap 6 of this. It feels like we're on lap 10. Eyes on this one. This is how Zhang Jose went off. Now we had the likes of Joe Turney down the inside, and that's one of those tough ones, isn't it? Such a fast entry into the likes of turns number 8, but if you're on the outside line and you try to commit it, it gets a lot dirty out there, very slippy, and unfortunately, yeah, straight off the track.
And the other point is he's cut 3 corners off there
of
this circuit, so yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. It's been a busy one for everybody out there. We're on to lap number 7. I'll tell you who's been a star today. James Anagnostiidis is on the charge again. He's just lost a couple of them, but was up 12 places. So the Australian hasn't deployed his new tyres yet either. So James Anagnostiidis could be on for a really, really good charge back through after that difficult qualifying. New fastest lap of the race from Christian Kostoya, 50.277 in terms of what the new tyres are doing. Obviously, it's only a half set of new tyres from Christian Kostoya. Again, that's about a quarter of a second, 3/10 off the pole time, the overall pole time that Kamyab set yesterday. So that's really, really good pace in race trim. Not a surprise to see warning flag is out from 325 Zhang Jose, so that'll be some time added to the 325's race finish position, as here's a move for third place. Burnett down the inside of Krutilov.
Yeah, nicely timed there. Just getting a nose down the inside at turn number 3. A prime place to get it done. The first major real overtaking opportunity. However, it's not going to last long. Krutilov down the inside. Oh dear, that's going to be a nasty one for Burnett, because Drummond's got back through as well. And there is Kostoya. Christian Kostoya on the charge. Back through the field now, up into P5. We have not seen him here at all this weekend.
No, he's not at this stage of races. He's putting it on the line here. There's another, but that's a more understandable one from what we've seen here in the box, that Zhang Jose is under investigation for cutting the track. I think that's going to be a fairly slam dunk one on this occasion. On to lap number 9 then. Here is the battle between Davide Battaro. It's a shame we didn't have the cameras on for you at home yesterday, because Davide Battaro pulled off one of the overtakes of the season,
really
in my
did.
opinion, out of turn number 7. Not a single overtake out on that part of the circuit, not a double, but a triple. It was fantastic. So keep an eye on Battaro as the weekend goes on, because he's got his overtaking shoes on, as has Christian Kostoya. He's got through into 4th place now, ahead of Lev Krutilov. Kostoya could be up into the top 3 at least here, because Zach Drummond is next, and there's quite a few laps of this race to go.
It certainly is, but is this a kind of sign of, are we only going to see this in one race, of course, with those fresh tyres on board?
Possibly so.
After this race, you know, is it going to be a case of, well, back to square one again and back where he originally was? So,
and the flip of this is everybody's going to be watching this and going, right, the delta is sizable for later in the 4th round of heats and then the 5th. The solace for Kostoya is he's trying to find a way through past Drummond now. Krutilov still fighting in there as well. Krutilov gets alongside Kostoya. Drummond defending sensibly here. Here comes Battaro. He's trying it again. This is where he did that triple overtake yesterday. Just a single this time. Past Krutilov and up to 5th place. Drummond trying to make his Fusion Motorsport prepared machine as wide as possible to hold Christian Kostoya there in 4th place. End of another lap. 3 to go here, Anthony. It's been a properly interesting race.
it certainly has. We'll keep a close eye on this one as Peschel is still under pressure at the front. Kidmark is now down to 0.2 of a second as we keep our eyes on this battle for 3rd place. Drummond here holding off an immense train of karts behind him. The pressure on that young Scottish lad's shoulders must be immense right now, but here comes Battaro down the inside on Kostoya, not close enough. Oh dear, a little bump and barge there. Kostoya lucky to keep it on the circuit there at the braking zone at turn number 7. Now again, Battaro holding an inside line is now defending from the likes of Joe Turney just behind, who is close right in to play now as they're all kicking off in the background. Burnett, Sala, Krutilov, lies it all the way back there, all fighting for position. Race nearly coming to a conclusion here right now. Burnett's under pressure, but I want to keep an eye on Peschel and Kidmark. 0.2 of a second between the two. They are very close in this dying stage of the race.
Kidmark trying to recover after a retirement in the 2nd round of heats yesterday. And for Peschel, on the line is the lead in the intermediate classification. That's a bold move from Joe Turney, and he's made it work through past Burnett, but it's opened the door now for Filippo Sala. Turney does the switch back, will have the inside line for the next corner. All the experience being used here by Joe Turney. He's been mentioning in some of the interviews that we've done with him this year how tough it is racing against some of the younger drivers, the new crop that have come through from OK Junior last year into the senior category. Here comes Krutilov back for another go as well, gets back ahead of the Forza and into 8th place. We're on to the final lap now. Peschel still leading from Kidmark, but only just. Drummond and Kostoya seem to be set for 3rd and 4th. Battaro has disappeared up the road for 5th, and then it's this battle. Turney, Sala, Krutilov, Burnett and Agnostiidis is there, and Boris Lyson all for 6th place.
Certainly are. This is an incredible little fight that we've got on our hands right here, as Matt Road unfortunately will see a 5-second penalty down the inside. Big send for Agnostiidis there on Jensen. Burnett, a little puff of smoke getting kicked up there between the drivers, but Joe Turney holding firm at the front is out of the final corner and to the checkered flag. No drama between them at the end. Peschel v Kidmark, 1-2 across the line. Drummond will come away with a 3rd ahead of Kostoya. Battaro P5. Turney did hold on to P6 from Sala. Krutilov from Burnett and Agnostiidis rounding out the top 10.
There we go. Yuri Peschel takes the lead in the intermediate classification midway through this 4th round, and 182 points from a possible 200. I think he would have taken that if you'd offered it him at the start of the race meeting. He's been very, very strong indeed and keeps the points tally ticking over. Jensen Burnett 2nd in the points. Joe Turney closes the gap to the Canadian a little bit there. He's 3rd, so 153 and 152. There is the race result. Peschel from Kidmark, Drummond, Kostoya, Battaro, the top 5. Turney, Sala, Krutilov, Lyson and Burnett all in the top 10. James Anagnostiadis, brave again, up 13 on that occasion. Clovis Nougaret as well, good drive from the Frenchman there, up 9 to 12th. Zhang Jose 13th, but it is under investigation for a moment earlier on in the race. Chiara Batig, brave there, through to 14th place, just ahead of another of the big movers, Mats van Rooyen in 15th. Ella Hakkinen, 16th, moved forward a position. Jakob Kamenik, Oliver Rasmussen, Carl Lutard and Zach Green in the top 20. Vanessa Schilkenater, Roland Cochlain and Sarah Matsui all finished. The 23 finishers in total for that one. Retirements all early in the race. Kadal, Kolobos, Zazov and Anzi. Lewis Francis did not take the start.
Indeed. Here's a look at the highlights from that race. And, well, quite a few little highlights on this one. For Jensen Burnett, not the results I suspect he would have wanted on that one. Still, good points for him, but down to P10 after starting on pole. That's how Vanessa did up off the circuit, running wide at turn number 3. But this moment here, not sure if that one sits well in the book of things, because that's obviously going against the flow of traffic. So risky one, that moment there. Oh, for Georgi Zazov, that was a big, big hit there. A cart over the top, and thankfully, I could see that he did get up out of his cart and he tried to get it restarted, but yeah, not the way you want to see a race start.
Yeah, and testament again to the safety equipment that the drivers all have to use. That Georgie was relatively okay in that one. Here was the battle for the race lead. This was properly good racing between Peschel and Krutilov. Burnett trying to get involved in there as well down the inside to retake second place, and Kinmark would take advantage of the situation to move himself up the order. Out of the race would go the likes of Sunan Z and Stylianos Kolovos and Francois Cadal, the first of those drivers that you saw there. This was an interesting moment as well for Zhang Jose, who was off the road there and under investigation for cutting the track. Moving back up the order was Burnett in some good scraps with Lev Krutilov. Zach Drummond also gaining positions on his way to a well-earned third place. Drummond very much back in the points.
Yeah, certainly so. So is this man here, Davide Battaro. Really strong performances from him over the course of this weekend. Had some spills as well. Some drivers further back in the order, but Battaro looking really, really strong as well for the Glumini team here on the CRG. But really showcasing some pure talent there as well for Christian Costoya, fighting his way through. Really strong performance. Got a feeling we're not going to see something like that again until much later on in the weekend, if he can deploy, of course, fresher tyres later on. So, yeah, really good result for him, though, over the course of this racing. Joe Turney as well, pushing hard in those early stages. Filippo Sala as well, delivering the good results that he's needed to push himself up at that fine end of the field. That battle continuing throughout it. Big sends from James Anagnostiadis as well, pushing his way through. But all the meanwhile, clear and calm and quiet at the front. Peschel and Kinmark at the front. No drama for them at the end. I thought there was going to be a little bit of something because there was, 0.2 of a second between them, but nothing. There you go.
I think for Kinmark there, again, it's that element of having had a bad race earlier on in the weekend, you've got to get the points on the board. We know that round 5 of those heats will get feisty, because it always does. So yeah, for Kinmark, getting back into play was the important part of things there. Here's your schedule for the rest of the afternoon. We'll be back in around 45 minutes' time here on your Champions of the Future broadcast, brought to you by the RGMMC group. 2:05 local time for the resumption of the racing. Groups D and F out first for the juniors, and then the seniors at 2:25. 2:45 for groups A and C, juniors ahead of the seniors again, and so on and so forth, all the way through to 5 o'clock, or just after 5 o'clock, when we'll see the culmination of all 5 rounds of the qualifying heats here in Rødby.
Indeed. We will see you in 45 minutes' time. For myself, Anthony Jordan and Andrew Mather. Do not go anywhere.